All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Market Close. We are here Tuesday, July 22nd. We've got a bunch of earnings coming up in the next 15 minutes. Enphase, Intuitive Surgical, and a couple of their names. So we will be going through them. Jason will be here at around 4:20-ish. He's going to be here for about an hour. He cannot stay here the whole day, so we'll try to get some technical Tuesday on the major names that we have. But we've had a lot of stories happen in the past couple of hours, a lot of them that are very, very bullish for NVIDIA. Palantir right here, 149, Robinhood 102. Grab looks like it might end up green for the day, 545. And so we'll talk about some of those stories for NVIDIA. In general, markets have been relatively flat since the morning in regards to some of the major names that took a bit of a beating as soon as the market opened. And some of the other high flyers, like an Open Door, are down 9%. KSS, that one is going to close probably above 30%. That is green. Faraday Future, 42%. Bitmine, that's up about 4%. And then you have Chegg and DNUT are both up 27%. DNUT being Krispy Kreme and Chegg being a online platform for students to use to do better on tests and exams. I mean, you're seeing a rotation, not from meme stocks to value, but from some meme stocks to other meme stocks. And it's kind of hilarious. So Open Door is down 9%, but DNUT is up 27%. Open Door is down 9%, but Chegg is up 27%. I mean, Faraday Futures up 42% as well. Obviously, Kohl's busted through 21 in the morning. It was up like 100%, and now it's down to 38%, but still pretty green for the day. It's one of those markets where you're getting some green in a lot of areas, but some of that green is being taken away from other greens. And that's kind of the nature of how this market is playing out right now. We also had Trump go live. He gave us some quotes, so we'll be talking about his quotes and what he had to say. On top of that, you have some brand new updates on Oracle and OpenAI, so we'll be talking about that as well. Here is the major update we got around the Philippines. Trump was live with the Philippines president, and here's what he had to say about 19% tariffs now in the Philippines.
Back down, back towards session highs as we have some breaking news on the trade front with Eamon Javers at the White House. Eamon?
Kelly, that's right. President Trump taking to social media here just in the past couple of minutes to announce a trade agreement that he says he just concluded with a Philippine leader who is here at the White House today. The president taking to social media to say that he's going to impose a 19% tariff on the Philippines. They will in turn have zero tariffs on the United States. What's interesting about this social media post here, as you take a look at it, he says that the Philippines is going to have an open market with the United States and zero tariffs, but it also says that there's some military cooperation here between the two countries. We know that the Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, was in the meeting with the Philippines earlier today in the Oval Office. Not clear from this announcement what the exact military agreements here that might be a sidecar to this trade deal. So we'll try to get a little bit more detail here from the White House, also confirmation from the Philippine government side as well.
Now, we don't have that confirmation from the Philippine government, but the current tariff rate from the United States to Philippines is 20%. Trump is lowering it to 19%. So, I mean, I don't know if it's the biggest deal in the world, but nonetheless, if it gets us closer to a deal, I think that's all that matters. And so we at least got that 20% reduction to 19%. Trump said in his tweet that it's going to open up the Filipino market to the United States. We'll see if that ends up happening. Dissent this morning said that we're going to get a ton of new deals, so we should be excited about the next couple of weeks. But ultimately, that's what we got going on right now in the context of the Philippines and different trade deals. Okay, I do know who Ozzy Osbourne is. Okay, none of you guys are going to believe me at all, but I don't know how else I can prove it to you other than, like, I'm telling the truth. I know who he is. He did pass away, unfortunately. Ozzy Osbourne, we got the news about 2 hours ago that he has passed away. My favorite song from Ozzy Osbourne, I only know one song, is I Don't Want to Stop. Okay, you guys, you don't have to believe me, but I think I found out about the song in 2010-ish. I think it came out in 2006, around that time frame. And I don't even, the way I heard it, because it was on WWE. I used to play the video game for WWE. I think it was on 2K8, WWE 2K 2008 or 2K7. It was on one of those WWE games, like SmackDown versus Raw. And some of you guys might remember playing those video games. This was one of the songs that was there. So that's how I know Ozzy Osbourne. I didn't get deeper into his music, but that one song has been just one of the most iconic songs ever. He has passed away, 76 years old. 76 years old. He has passed away. So very sad for Ozzy Osbourne. He did have a bunch of health challenges throughout his life. The one thing I can say about him that I didn't understand him that deeply or understand his life that well, but I do know that he was a man of risk-taking and adventure. And that's, I think, how you can sum up the way he experienced life or the way he thought about life. There's a lot of other nuances and components to how he was as a person, but he is a music legend, an absolute rock star. And rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne. But that one song, I Don't Want to Stop. So let me know if you guys know that song. That song was one of my favorite songs in, I guess, the genre that Ozzy would create. So that's what we got from Ozzy Osbourne. Market right here. We got 9 minutes until we close. Coles again, 1450. Open door looking like, again, it's going to end down 9% of the day. BMNR right here down 3.4. Robin, a nasty day again, like it had yesterday, down 2%. I think it's healthy. I think Palantir down 1.73% also is healthy. A lot of these names taking a little bit of a breather. Microsoft right here, 505. The news today on Google and Microsoft was that Google was, or Microsoft poached 12 engineers from Google. And that is kind of wild that a lot of the engineer AI talent is continuing to be poached, but that was the news. Microsoft poaches more than 20 of the top AI talent from Google DeepMind. Ironically, Microsoft red, Google's green. So it's not like the street cared too much. Google does have earnings tomorrow, which is going to be very important. But the US tech giant recruited more than 20 people from Rival and Push to gain edge in the fast developing technology. Now, speaking of technology and the advancements of AI, we got two major updates on that. 9 minutes until the market closes. First of all, remember when OpenAI told us, or not OpenAI, remember when Oracle disclosed 2 weeks ago and they went up to like 250 all-time highs, that they have a customer that will pay them $30 billion a year starting in 2028? Well, Jose called it. It was OpenAI. It was OpenAI. So that in fiscal year 2028, 3 years from now, OpenAI will be paying Oracle $30 billion a year for compute to build out a 4.5 gigawatt data center. I mean, that is crazy, but it is indeed happening. We also had that news this morning that OpenAI is going to be getting 2 million chips from Oracle to be able to start Stargate, even though Elon was right that SoftBank did not have the money, and SoftBank has reneged out of the deal. Looks like Oracle and OpenAI are going alone to be able to do it. Now, here's what Elon said today, which was crazy. Crazier than $30 billion a year from OpenAI to Oracle. The XAI goal is 50 million in units of H100 equivalent AI compute. That doesn't mean literally H100s from NVIDIA, but equivalent to 50 million types of H100 chips online within Grok's or XAI supercluster within 5 years. And if you do the math on that, that's about 1.25 trillion. It's about 1.25 trillion is what Elon is trying to spend when it comes to developing this AI stuff. And so the US GDP right here is about 28 trillion. So or let's just round it up to 30 trillion. The fact that he wants to spend 1/30th of US GDP on compute, and this is just one company by having 50 million H100s. I mean, dude. Yeah, NVIDIA with all caps like that. Like, I don't know how else we don't see that AI is going to continue to expand, and the use cases of AI are obviously becoming pretty massive, which is why Elon even cares about getting all this compute in the first place. But if XAI is going to do it, Sam Altman literally said yesterday, we need to 100x the 1 million GPUs that we have, which means he wants 100 million GPUs. And Elon comes out today and says, we want 50 million of them. I mean, the data center, semiconductor ecosystem, Dell, SMCI, NVIDIA, AMD, et cetera. AMD, by the way, is going to be a big beneficiary of that as well. That's happening. That is happening. And it's likely not slowing down anytime soon. Webull is at, wow, Webull. I don't know what the news is on there, but that one's moving. You know, quite frankly, I've been thinking about this for like the past couple hours. Why wouldn't Webull become the next big Wall Street Bets candidate? Like, why wouldn't it? Literally, the name is Bull. The short float, I think, is less than some of the other ones we've seen. Like, most of the ones we've seen are 25% and above. Webull, yeah, it's only 3%. So there's not a massive short float, but there's also not a massive float in general. I mean, who knows? Maybe Webull could be. Maybe that could be the one. Was AMD even mentioned? No, but again, Elon didn't say NVIDIA chips. He said H100 equivalents. So, you know, he's probably not going to spend all that money on NVIDIA. We don't even know if he would actually spend 1.25 trillion. But the fact that he's that ambitious to want to be able to get that much compute, because he knows self-driving, robotics, and then building the best model in the world is going to need a lot of infrastructure. And that infrastructure data build-out is not going anywhere, which is why I think that he continues to be as excited as he is. Here's the update right here for OpenAI and Oracle that are officially working together. Oracle going to be collecting $30 billion from OpenAI every year starting in fiscal year 2028.
Well, Kelly, OpenAI and Oracle say that build-out will count towards the White House's pledge to develop 10 gigawatts of AI infrastructure in the U.S. over 4 years. At the same time, like you mentioned, SoftBank and OpenAI have been scaling back their ambitious Stargate plans. That puts Oracle in a stronger position. Why? Because OpenAI already signed a $30 billion per year deal with Oracle to host its AI workloads, effectively positioning Oracle as the fallback if Stargate fails to deliver on its original $500 billion vision, which was what that Wall Street Journal article was about. That said, CEO Sam Altman insisted this morning that OpenAI still plans to, quote, significantly expand the ambitions of Stargate beyond that $500 billion target. But Wall Street wasn't really betting on big Stargate-related spending in 2025 or 2026 anyways, because $500 billion in spending takes a while to build out. Morgan Stanley notes the Wall Street Journal article looks worse than it actually is, since OpenAI has already shifted demand to Oracle, Google Cloud, and CoreWeave. So while Oracle shares are down about 2.5% on this report, there appears to be a reallocation, not a retreat, redirecting projects from SoftBank Link sites into Oracle's already active builds. Yes, there are definitely concerns about whether massive AI investment figures are being overstated. Kelly, you and I spoke about this yesterday briefly, but the AI build out is still happening. And for now, Oracle, not necessarily Stargate, is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Kelly?
So momentum is not slowing down at all when it comes to the AI build out. And I think this ecosystem is going to have plenty of room to grow over the coming decade. Now, you might have seen this on X over the past couple hours. It is fake, but I've been getting a lot of questions about it. Jay Powell did not resign. Unfortunately, this thing went viral. Someone made something that looks like it's a letter to the president in which Jerome Powell is claiming to resign. That's not true. He's not resigning. He's not going anywhere. No matter how much the market wants him to resign, he's not leaving. At least we have no indication that he's leaving. And the little speech he gave this morning for 30 seconds didn't show any indication that he was leaving. So I don't know who started this rumor, but whoever did, this spread like wildfire, but it's not true. Jay Powell is not resigning. So yeah, he's not leaving yet, folks. And I don't think he's going to be leaving. Even Trump mentioned it this morning. I mean, Trump did a press conference and he said, hey, but he's going to leave in 8 months anyway, so it doesn't matter. So Trump, I even think Trump knows the gravity of what it would mean if he were to fire Jay Powell. Like that would just I think he knows that would not be good. That's why he's calming the markets down by saying he's not actually going to fire him. But Jay Powell's not resigning. And no matter how much people want him to, he is not leaving. And I think the market doesn't want him to resign at all. I agree. Now, final two things until we get into the close. We got a bunch of earnings after the bell. Trump did do that press conference with the president from the Philippines. Two things. He was asked about Epstein. He deflected for 5 minutes and started talking about the Russia quote unquote hoax and then the 2020 election being rigged for like a good 5-7 minutes. And so he completely deflected from that. So we didn't get a specific answer. He also just tweeted like 5 minutes before I went live that we need to stop talking about the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. So that was one update that we got from the meeting. Yeah, the quote was, we had the greatest 6 months of any president in the history of our country, and the fake news wants to talk about is Jeffrey Epstein hoax. So you got that. And then number two, he did mention he's thinking of getting rid of capital gains taxes on selling your home. Now, we don't know if this is for investment properties or just for your personal residence. Obviously, if it was for investment properties, that would be massive because you would have a ton of home builders. You would have a ton of private equity firms that own a lot of real estate. They wouldn't have to pay property tax, or they're not property tax. They wouldn't have to pay capital gains tax on the homes that they flip for, their business, which would be massive. But if he doesn't mean it's for the investments in homes or the investors in real estate, and if he means it's for people that already live in a home, which there's already an exemption to about $250,000 if you're single or $500,000 if you're married, then it's not that big of a deal. We didn't get any details on it. He even told the reporter, how did you figure this out? It seems like someone leaked the news to you. So they've been thinking about it. And I guess they got the leak from somewhere, but we did not get any real confirmation that Trump is going to get rid of capital gains tax, which would be pretty massive. It's just the question of who is it going to go to? And is it actually going to affect the broader economy from an investor perspective or from a just average American perspective? Those were the two updates from Trump that we got today. And hopefully we just see more deals along with the 19% tariffs that we have on the Philippines, down from 20%. That was also imposed for today. So there you go. All right, folks, we got a lot of earnings after the bell. Jason should be on in about 20 minutes, and then we will see what we've got going on. Q2 earnings continues today, Tuesday, July 22nd, 4 p.m. Thank you, everybody, for being here. The stock market is now closed. All right, let's make our list. We got a bunch of earnings on deck. Today is 7/22. So we've got Enphase, we've got ISRG. Let me know if anyone owns any of these. We have Capital One. We have SAP, big company in Europe when it comes to technology. And then we have Texas Instruments and then Chubb. So we got a semiconductor, we have insurance, we have robotics company, and then we have Enphase Solar. I mean, we all kind of know that Enphase is going to get a lot of their subsidies removed, but it pumped 7% going into the print. So now when we get these results, we're going to see how this ends up playing out. Before we get into the numbers, which should be out in just a little bit, let's just take a look at how some of these stocks are doing. NVIDIA closed the day down 2.54%. Open Door down 10% on the day. BMNR, Kathy Wood bought 4.4 million shares yesterday. That's up 2%. She also tweeted about it. She says she's really happy to support the Ethereum Treasury mission. So Kathy is seeming to be a long-term investor when it comes to BMNR. Faraday Future, that was up 43%. Palantir down about 1.79% of the day. Robinhood closes below 102, 101.85, down 2.39%. Grab actually gets a green close at 548. Not too bad on Grab. Again, it got to 590 yesterday, came all the way back down to 525 today. Got the close at 547, which is nice to see for Grab. Google right here, 191.31. We got earnings tomorrow. Microsoft 505. That's down about 1%. S&P 500 628 basically ended flat. It was up 0.01%. So even with going all the way down to 954, which was kind of the intraday low on a lot of these names, and then going back up, ended flat. And then Webull ended up 16% of the day. 16% on the day. Tesla, great close, 332, up 1% after it hit 321 on the opening bell at 9:30. All right, do we have some results? We do. Wow, Texas Instruments down 7%. Texas Instruments down 7%. Let me see if I can get these results. TXN, that's not really good to see. They're an important company in the semiconductor ecosystem, along with ASML. We already had one of those that got hit. TXN, that one down. That's 8% down. All right, so either the guidance sucked or they actually missed. Let's see. No, they beat on the top and the bottom. All right, so it has to be a guidance thing. So Texas Instruments, 3% beat EPS, 3% beat revenue, 4.4 versus 4.32, 1.4 versus 1.3 on EPS. Revenue's up 16% year over year. EPS is up 16% year over year. EPS 10% Q over Q, revenue 9% quarter over quarter. Something's got to be upsetting the street. We have no other results other than Texas right now. Texas Instruments, that one's down. Bearish calculators, yes. Honestly, the first like way I got introduced to Texas Instruments was calculators. But down 8% right here. All right, let's see. There's got to be something the street obviously doesn't like. We'll try to get more details in a bit. But they got a nice beat on the top and the bottom. So there's something deeper here that the street is annoyed about. SAP comes out in 2 minutes. Okay, so we'll see that later. AI eats all the calculator moat. That is also true. That is also true. By the way, I'll be live with Jose tomorrow for Google and Tesla. So tomorrow after the market close, that'll be a big one. We'll probably start 15 minutes early at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, do a preview. And then Google and Tesla, they will be on deck. I am shareholders of both companies. I think Jose is as well. So that will be very important to see how that ends up playing out. All right, Q3 EPS 136 to 160. Consensus was 149. So they're in the middle. Guidance revenue was 4.45 to 4.8. Consensus was 4.5. So they didn't miss on the guidance. They are just giving a range. If you assume the short end of the range, they would miss on EPS and guidance for Q3. But if you assume the midpoint, they would beat. Like exactly, they would beat. They would literally in the midpoint beat on EPS and revenues for Q3. So I mean, guidance is not great, but it's definitely not disgusting. Yes, we will have the Ethereum deep dive tomorrow as well, and then MicroStrategy on Thursday. So it's gonna be a jam-packed week with a lot of stuff. And that Ethereum deep dive I'm looking forward to just because I want to better understand why people care so much about this asset. Down about 6.5% TXN. We don't have the other results yet. They should be coming out soon. Chubb is down a little bit after hours. That's not really that volatile. This is a Buffett stock, by the way. This was Buffett's secret stock back in 2023 that he was buying. He has another secret stock. We don't know what it is because it's a secret. But yeah, Chubb is one of those names that Berkshire owns. Oh, ISRG. There she goes. There she goes. 547, now 533. That's up 4%. Intuitive Surgical. This is one of those companies that not that many people talk about, but it's a massive company, 183 billion market cap. And that one is green. Let me see if I can get the earnings. Now, the candle's fading a little bit, so not sure if that's going to be able to hold up as well. But we don't have the results yet, but it looks positive, at least from the beginning of these results. Capital One's down. Capital One slightly down. Don't have their numbers yet, but that's slightly down. Texas, again, still down 7%. Enphase is up 1.6. Enphase up 5. Wow. Enphase was up 7 during the day. Now it's up 5 after hours. Huh. I mean, even with all the solar subsidy stuff that is definitely bearish for all the solar companies, looks like the street is looking past that. Wow, dude. Wow, Enphase 7%. ISRG just went red. 2% down. TXN still down 7%. Enphase is the winner so far out of all these names in terms of outperformance after hours right here. I mean, that is not bad. Why is CEG up? So CEG is another energy play. That is, wow, that's up 3%. I mean, that doesn't necessarily have to do with solar per se. They do have a nice 20-year deal they got with Meta a couple of weeks ago. But maybe solar in general pumping is bullish for energy. Wow, Enphase up 8%. Does anyone own Enphase? Anyone still in this one? Put in the chat if you're in this one. ISRG. All right, so here are the earnings. Q2 tops estimates. EPS 219 versus 192. That's a beat. 244 versus 2.35 revenue. That's a beat. Net income, they beat by almost 100 million. 798 versus 696. A little bit more than 102 million. GAAP EPS 181. Okay, so not sure why the street's going bearish ISRG, but that wasn't really bad. Here's Texas Instruments. Let's just get those results real quick. And then we will keep going from there.
Beat on the top and bottom line, $1.41 EPS adjusted earnings per share on $4.45 billion for revenue. It's the guidance for Q3 that is a mixed bag. Q3 EPS, the midpoint of the range came in a little bit less than $1.50 estimate. And then the Q3 revenue guidance of $4.45 to $4.8 billion was just a touch higher than what the street wanted. So that's why it's a mixed bag. In the actual report, the company said, management said that they saw revenues increase 9% quarter over quarter, led by continued broad recovery in industrial. The one point, though, here is that the third quarter outlook does not include changes related to recently enacted U.S. tax legislation. Perhaps that's playing a role, or perhaps the fact that the stock had increased almost 45% just in the last 3 months. So perhaps this wasn't good enough, as we saw yesterday with NXPI. Morgan?
All right. Enphase, they beat by 11% on EPS. Revenue, they beat by 1%. Revenue's up 20%. EPS is up 60%. I guess that's a pretty healthy EPS beat. Enphase is kind of sliding back down. It was almost a 7% candle. Now it's up 3%. Texas trying to recover. It was down 7. Now it's down 5.5. ISRG, that one is getting hit. All right. Capital One. We got Capital One. Okay, Q2 revenue missed 12.49 versus 12.7. That is indeed a miss. That's the first bank to miss, or at least miss by, well, you had another bank that missed by a little as well. So I guess it's not the first bank, but it is one of a handful of banks that missed. Net loss, 4.28 billion. EPS negative 8.58. Loan loss provision surges to 11.43 billion. Okay, so that one, not as good as your JP Morgans or Morgan Stanleys. It kind of reminds me of Wells Fargo a little bit, that had a decent earnings, but there was a bit of a miss right there. Stock's not reacting that much. Capital One really isn't that volatile anyway. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Berkshire owns Capital One as well. I'm pretty sure they do. But that one kind of flat after hours. That's not too crazy. SolarEdge should be moving up on this, right? That's because of Enphase. SolarEdge, that was up almost 4%. Now it's up 1.2%. So Enphase kind of moving there. What about First Solar, FSLR, which is a little bit more. First Solar, I think, is more commercial solar versus residential. But this one was green at 181. Now it's back down. Texas still down 7. Intuitive Surgical down 3. Wow. Polymarket launching their own stablecoin as per CoinDesk. Polymarket, they just bought a platform to re-enter the United States now that some laws got reversed. By the way, I'm still reading up on this, but from what I saw today, again, I cannot confirm this. I'm trying to look at a bunch of sources. It looks like Congress is trying to change the accredited investor laws for it to go from, instead of being $1 million net worth or a $250,000 income in the United States, which is what it takes to like be able to even have the ability to invest in SpaceX, to a test. It looks like they're trying to change it to a test, which would be massive. A, for tokenization, because now if you can just like pass some tests, you can gain access to startups on a tokenized blockchain. But B, because that means now everyone who is relatively competent that can answer a test doesn't need to have $1 million of net worth. By the way, they exclude your house in that $1 million. So even if you have a house, you can't include that to determine if you're a millionaire. So the accreditation laws are just like ridiculous in my opinion, but it looks like they're getting ready to change that, which would be very bullish for the broader startup ecosystem and good for tokenization as well. Yes, Buffett does have Capital One. Okay, Capital One is flat right here after hours, not too crazy. Let's see if we can get some coverage on some of the other names. Enphase so far performing the best after hours. And we still have a couple more companies to look at. This was intuitive, by the way, for those that missed it. They beat by 14% on EPS and beat by 4% on revenue. EPS and revenue both up double digits year over year, 20% each, which is not bad. Well, Enphase goes down. Never mind. Enphase was performing the best. Now it goes down. Now it goes down. Is D-Nut flying after hours? D-Nut is... Why is D-Nut flying after hours? Goodness gracious, bro. This is Krispy Kreme. It's not Dunkin' Donuts. It's up 17% after being up 27% on the day. Where's Open Door after hours? Open Door down another 1% after hours. And then Enphase is barely holding on to 1%. Yes, the ticker symbol is D-Nut. That is correct. It is embarrassing to say it every time, but nonetheless, that is the ticker symbol. SAP, I think we have their earnings. They beat by 4%. They missed on revenue. They beat by 4% on EPS. SAP is down 2.5. SAP is down 2.5, 176 versus 169 on EPS. They missed on revenue by really nothing, 10.60 versus 10.63. EPS is up 47% year over year, and revenue is up 17%. This is the largest tech company, or at least enterprise SaaS company in Europe. And they are growing 17%. Wow, dude, what is Zuck's doing? Zuckerberg hires 3 Google AI researchers who worked on gold medal winning model, as per the information. And the information just did an interview with Zuck, so their sources tend to be legit because they're pretty tapped in to Meta's ecosystem and have been for a while. Goodness, dude, Zuck's is not ready to stop spending. My goodness. My goodness. Webull after hours. First of all, where's Meta after hours? Meta is up a little bit after hours. It was actually down 1% on the day. I think the street's just worried about how much he's spending now, and that's why it's not been able to break through 740. But if he justifies that spending is necessary for this AI revolution, then maybe the street doesn't care. Webull basically flat after hours, but it was up 16% on the day. Kohl's is up another 1% after hours. Faraday Futures down about 0.5%. Palantir's flat. Grab is flat, 547, and then Robinhood 101.87. This is the highest Grab has closed in like a year. Like we have not closed at 547 in a year. So although I know it's down from 590 yesterday from after hours, this is one of the best closes Grab has had in the past 52 weeks, which is very nice to see. Enphase right here now goes officially red, and Intuitive Surgical also continues to go red, down 2%. Yes, Microsoft also did hire more Google researchers. So you do have Google losing, it seems like, if these reports are accurate, a ton of talent. But obviously they have earnings tomorrow, which is why the stock is pumping. And hopefully Sundar can deliver. I think Google and Tesla pump. I think they both do their thing. And if they don't, it is what it is. We have to deal with it. But I think they're going to give us something to be excited about. Capital One, let's see if I have some coverage on that real quick. Let's get this up, and then we'll keep going from there.
For Capital One on the EPS, a slight miss on revenue. So EPS of $5.48 a share compares with the $3.72 adjusted estimate. Now revenue of $12.49 billion, just under the $12.69 billion estimate. Otherwise, it's a really noisy quarter because it's the first one that includes that Discover acquisition that happened earlier this year. We're still digging through the release at the moment. Back to you.
Okay. Hugh-san, thank you. We'll share to Capital One up fractionally right now.
All right, so that's what we got on Capital One. Nothing too crazy from there. Apple after hours, Capital One basically, now it's green. Now it goes up 2%. So Capital One is moving higher. Apple moving higher a little bit after hours as well. ASML still a nasty day, down about 2%. And then Google closed about second day in a row, closing above 191. I think yesterday was 190, not even 191. So this is actually a great close on Google. Yeah, VST and VRT, the data center plays, given all it makes sense. VST is up 6% right here. VRT, the data center stuff, was super bullish for them today in regards to Oracle and OpenAI. And it looks like that's not slowing down. VST didn't have earnings though, right? I don't think they had earnings. So there might be some other news moving them after hours outside of OpenAI and Oracle. Oh yeah, here you go. So biggest U.S. grid sets capacity price at record 329.17 a megawatt a day. That, I don't know if that uniquely is just about VST, but that is big for the grid in regards to energy. CEG should be pumping on that as well. That just means we're making more progress. CEG is up 5% on capacity for energy, which is, the crucial element for AI to even be meaningful. And that's what it's looking like is helping those stocks. Steve should be here. Not Steve. Asian Steve. Jason should be here in about 5 minutes. Again, he can only stay for about an hour, so we're not going to be able to take a ton of ticker requests today, guys. But we will try to get through the main tickers and try to see what's going on from a technical perspective. NVIDIA, for some reason, dude, they sold off NVIDIA today. I don't think it was that Korean startup competing with NVIDIA news in the morning. And if it was, then I don't think it's that big of a deal. But that one's still going down after hours. TLN, this is another one in the energy space. Wow, 9%. Looks like that energy stuff was really bullish for Vistra up 7%, Constellation up 5%, and then TLN up 9% after hours. Yes, there is an Asian Steve. There is indeed an Asian Steve. Is GoPro moving? This is another name I've been hearing on Wall Street Bets. Wow. I don't think anyone in the chat told me this today. GoPro was up 41%. I don't think I saw, maybe I missed the comment. I didn't see anyone mention this one. We looked at DNUT. We looked at Chegg. We looked at Faraday Future. We looked at freaking Kohl's. GoPro, huh? I think Wall Street Bets is scanning any stock that is sold short, like massively sold short. And they're just saying, all right, this is the next one that's up. GoPro, 10% short float. Not massive, but still, you got something. Chubb earnings, all right, 14.19 versus 14.14. That's a beat. On revenue, EPS 614 versus 597. That's a beat. Is Chubb moving? Chubb is down 1%. ISRG down 3. Enphase down 4. Enphase losing a lot of steam right here, dude. After going up about 7%. It was up 7% during the day. And Texas Instruments, that one is still down as well. Bro, you're meant to tell us about this. I can't keep up with the new meme of the day. At this point, it's not the new meme of the day. It's like the new 7 memes of the day that are going to the moon. I mean, this is incredible, dude. This is absolutely incredible. These, I mean, like, you would never think these names would catch a bid, and they are catching a bid at an astronomical level. The question is, how long do they keep that bid? I mean, Open Door, this one's not working today. It's not working today. The founder of the dude, or not the founder, but the dude who's like trying to pump this thing, he even tagged Vlad today, and he was like, "Hey, Vlad, what's going on with Robinhood? Why isn't Open Door working?" I have not heard a single complaint about Open Door not being able to be traded on Robinhood. And there are a lot of people in the comments saying, dude, you picked a shitty stock to pump. And, it's like, yeah, that's probably why it's not working. By the way, he did take some profits. Eric Jackson, this dude who's pumping Open Door to the moon, he did indeed take some profits on Fox Business today. He was asked if he took profits, and he said one of the accounts that he manages for his clients, they forced him to take profits. And so he had to take some profits. So, I mean, it's not like he's not at all benefiting from this. He is indeed taking some profits, at least, based on what's going on.
When the stock was up 120% yesterday, saying, hey, Eric, you got to sell. You got to sell. I want to take profits. I was a little confused because obviously, he made a lot of money in the account at that point. But he was just like, I didn't sign up to be in a meme stock. It makes me nervous. I don't like it. I don't want to be here. I just want to take, the bulk of my money out and so forth. So, obviously I have a fiduciary duty to kind of take profits like when in that case. So, and I did.
Sorry about the audio. That's just the video he posted. But he says, I have a fiduciary duty to take profits when a stock pumps as high as it did. And so, he followed his fiduciary duty and took his profits, even though he's telling everybody on the planet that this thing's going to 82. I mean, I feel like you have a fiduciary duty to make sure your clients get astronomical returns. And if the stock's at 4 and it's going to 82, that, so to me, I don't know, dude. I'm not buying the thesis yet, but that 497 dump, he literally said when the stock was up 125% yesterday, which was literally 490 to 497 when it was at the top, he said he took profits. So you did have some exit liquidity coming from the guy that's, pumping it up. And then he's blaming Vlad about robbing it today. I'm like, who are you blaming? Like, what, it was one of those days where people just left Open Door and they went to something new to play with. And I think that's why we saw some of the weakness right here on this name as well. All right, folks, let's get one of the best technical analysts on the planet and his thoughts on what is going on with the broader markets, what's going on with the meme mania. I have a feeling he might have degen into some of them. Who knows? Maybe he made some money. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he's sticking to some of the other high-quality names, but let's get his thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Technical Tuesday, which means roll the intro. What's up?
What's up, buddy? Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. How are you, brother?
Happy Tuesday. I'm doing good. We are super busy over here at the House of Gains, man. I'll tell you that much for sure. But we're working on some big stuff. Pretty excited, though. Big stuff coming. That's all I can tell you.
Well, people are very curious to think what your technical perspective is on this market right now, especially as we end out July. But first question to get into it, I mean, like, what the hell's going on with these meme stocks? Is it just 2021 to you? Are you taking advantage of some of the volatility, or
which meme stocks are we talking about?
Well, I guess Open Door. We'll start with that one.
I mean, so every year about this time, people like to go dumpster diving. That's what's true. So that's really all it is in my mind. It's just kind of like the annual ritual. If you didn't know, it's a once a year annual ritual. People like to go dumpster diving, and Open Door. Maybe it's. I'm not going to say anything. Your camera looks really good, by the way. I did not take my second Adderall pill, so I'm just one. I might need to do this 1 second live. I just realized that because your camera looks very crispy. I think somebody got an upgrade, guys. Just saying, you may have gotten an upgrade just now.
You're doing a good job distracting from taking drugs, but. I asked Tanner the other day if he would ever do meth. He said no, but curious to me.
No, I just, there's a lot of stuff going on in the market. I think, so I'm not on the clock, but I will say this. We are past the seasonal peak. Typically, we've talked about this a handful of times. And from the lows, April lows, the last 3 months has been an epic run, an epic 3 months. And, if you've just been long stock, just long equity, you're probably up in the last 3 months, 70, anywhere from 40 to 70%.
Yeah.
Just on your portfolio alone, just being long equity, which is huge. I mean, a round of applause. Number one, an amazing run. But let's understand where we are. From the lows, we said, hey, look, and I was talking about my family portfolio, where we are. And it was like, look, if we haven't sold, the idea was like late July, maybe raise some cash. Here we are, late July, maybe raise some cash. And, as hard as, dude, that camera, guys, I'm just telling you.
But it's the same camera. There's nothing.
No, guys.
The Admiral's making you see the
This
camera.
bad boy is crisp. He is crisp. I'm just saying. Somebody got an upgrade over here. New lights. Just still need to get him a chair, though. If he would give me his address, I would. Tony, my partner, he took my chair. I have like a $2,000-$3,000 chair. He ripped out. He had to go get it airbrushed because he didn't like the color because we're doing all these other things. So I have this crappy chair.
I don't know who the hell pays $3,000 for a chair, but
I mean,
that's a little.
Just anyways.
Okay, so let's get into the charts. I think let's start off with. Let's do a quick one on Open Door, just like from a technical perspective.
Very hard. So it's a squeezy stock where we are. So there's no Sarah Fryer, so I can't get interested. I love Sarah. She's at OpenAI. So that was the only thing I would like about the stock. I'm pulling it up right now.
Did you trade this at all? And play
No.
the volatility or no? No. Okay.
No, I really try. A while ago, a few years back, I kind of made a promise to myself, like, I'm not going to go dumpster diving anymore. It's almost like in the crypto space. And if you don't know, like, my first love is crypto. Even before enterprise IT, I was in. I come from the crypto space. I come from the crypto markets before IT. So yeah.
It's not even worth doing TA on this because it's squeezy. Is your point?
It's very much a squeeze. I think it's a pre-earnings run, and a lot of what we're seeing here now is it's all about timing. So the timing of your trades are important, and so we are toppy, more or less. We're heavy. Like I said, we've made a huge run from the lows. Some things are near the highs. I posted something about our beloved Robinhood and Rocket Labs feeling a little heavy.
You said it's okay. They're taking a haircut, and I agree with you. I 1,000% agree with you.
Yeah, and to be fair, I'm actually, so I don't like to sell covered calls on my investments, quite frankly, because I always get into this weird, hairy situation where, like, unless it's very far out covered calls, like January 2026 or further, 2027 maybe cover calls, like, I really don't like to be in a spot where if I don't want to sell it, like, I don't want to sell it, and I don't want to be in a funky spot. So I'd rather buy protective puts near dated. And we've had this conversation. I'd rather pay up for short-term put protection and hopefully it goes to zero than be in a weird spot to have to make a decision. Do I actually want to sell? So in those instances, I would prefer to pay for protective puts.
Okay, so let's start off with Tesla and Google because we do have earnings for that tomorrow. I think that's probably better. I think we'll do Tesla, and I guess your general sentiment on if you think earnings.
So interestingly enough, Tesla, we said at 235 was going to be the pivot. Here we are, 235. This is a daily chart. It is at the pivot. Quite frankly, this could go either way. What I need to do on Tesla is find out, does anybody know what the average move is on Tesla?
I believe it's 7%. No, I can tell you right now. I can tell you literally right now.
Okay.
Calculate it. The answer is on Tesla.
I'm just gonna trust him.
7.5.
7.5, which is not horrible. So that's going to put you pretty much, as expected. So right at the top of the range is going to be about 365, and probably also at the bottom of the range, I'm going to guess, is about right where it came from, roughly 300. So it's not going to be, so Tesla's going to basically go back to where it came from at 300 just the other day, or right back to where it came from at 365 just the other day. Net is not going to do anything to this chart. Quite frankly, the chart is still, it is what it is. If it does break to the upside, that's all well and good. At most, it gets to that 380. But again, even if you were long from the 290 area, which is this area down here, that's the same trade. the only thing you're dealing with right now is implied volatility from an options perspective. If you are an options trader, were you taking the implied move or the historical move?
The implied move.
I didn't ask for that.
Well, that is the implied moves.
I don't want to know the implied move. What I wanted to know is, are the options more cheap or expensive? And my gut is actually that they're cheap. So I'm going to take 5.4 plus 2.9 plus 21.9 plus 12.3 plus 12.1 plus 12.1 equals 66 divided by 6. It's accurate. So 11% average move on a 10% implied move. They're fairly priced. So it does move about on average 10%, 10 to 11%. I think this is accurately priced. There's some cool stuff planned for the Tesla earnings call, but yeah, this is still more or less in the box. I say the box. It's right in the middle, dude. So I think if you're going to take a position, I saw you take a position on Tesla. On at least I saw a screenshot of a position.
Yeah.
It's right in the middle. Trade location is meh. It's over most of your significant moving averages, as in 50-day, 20-day, 200-day, simple moving averages. But again, technicals ahead of earnings, not going to make a huge difference. What I was talking about in terms of timing. So this move from here to here, although chunky and choppy, a lot of that has to do with this earnings, what we call pre-earnings run-up. So even though this is from the downside here to here, that is the Tesla, what have you, Elon, Trump shenanigans. A lot of this recovery is the pre-earnings run-up. So this 2 weeks or so movement, this is actually about a month. No, this is about 2 weeks. This is the good news that's priced in to the current earnings report hopefuls. So if the good news doesn't come to fruition, that is the 10% downside. And it would be essentially right back to where it came from. My gut is that about 305, give or take, right around 300 would act as support anyways. I could draw this across somewhere over here. So if you take a position ahead of earnings, I think actually that's okay. What I would say here is take it as a partial and plan to continue to dollar cost average moving forward. So don't deploy full. If you're going to trade into earnings, always do a partial with multiples planned after the fact.
Okay. Google.
Same thing, Google. So Google makes the run ahead of earnings. All of this is that pre-earnings run in terms of expectations up to. And we talked about Google. This 160, did you get your ad? You did get your ads.
Yeah.
So for us, I say us, for my trading group and our crew, we've taken this multiple ways. So now what we're doing here, so I'm an options trader. The group that I run is heavily into options. This trade has largely, from a short-term perspective, expired last week, and I've also had longer-term trades. The last time that we spoke, I talked about January 200 calls, and you had January 150s, I believe you have, correct? Yeah. So we added the January 200s right around here, 170s. Those are up about 80%. Those today needed to come down for me, all the principal plus. So I always do multiples. So at about 80% profit, I need to take about 80% of that quantity down today.
Right.
And I can leave the runners, the remaining balance on, no problem. And potentially what I'm looking for is the top of this box into that 201. And then plus, this is you're looking for 200 200 plus post earnings. If you get it, great. That's why we have the balance to stay on. But if I don't, then I also know, hey, look, this can come back down straight into that 200-day. And at that point, the balance of my trade, by the way, is going to be back to break even. In the meantime, each one of these moves here on Google that were taken here, near dated, and also here, near dated, both of these have, like I said, since expired. Those are already completely taken down as well. The only thing that I have left are the long dated calls. And again, like I said, are just down to what we call runners. From a trading perspective, this is not investing. This is strictly trading.
Do you think the majority of the move has already happened, and tomorrow is going to be a
show me? Tomorrow is the show me story. Now, Google coming off the lows. This is why Google and Apple and possibly Tesla. I didn't do the trading on Tesla. I didn't do a trade on Tesla because it doesn't have the same. It didn't have the same setup as Apple or Google. Coming off the absolute lows, but not having Tesla has a lot of political shenanigans going on. It's more of a story stock at the moment. And seasonally, both Google and Apple, if you didn't know, both Google and Apple on average do about 10%, 7 to 10% in July. So they had seasonal trends. They had coming off the lows, right off the trade war area, whatever. They had a lot of stuff going for them that Tesla had working against it. These didn't have the confluence. Tesla just didn't have the confluence. So these were the focus trades. My high value targets were both Google and Apple for this seasonal move. And so here we are, essentially playing these out. And I think Google is now done, actually. So tomorrow, which is the day before earnings, I do expect Google to have a little bit of profit taking, and that would probably just be in the morning, and then probably in the back half, boom, maybe the buyers step back in, and probably ends essentially flat on the day, and then it's the show me story post earnings. Now again, coming back to where it is, look, it's had a good move, but now they have to deliver. It's had a great move, but it's the show me story now.
Okay, Hoodie, what do we got going on there?
I hated to do this, but I actually opened some. So the way I did this, I saw this. Hoodie has had an amazing run. It actually went above our measured targets per Technical Tuesday shows. This was that last consolidation. We're very extended. So these simple moving averages, this is the 20-day white line. Again, heading into earnings, I expect some kind of pullback. I mean, for someone that has a decent size Robinhood position, seeing my portfolio up a large 5 digits every single day, I'm like, I know this is not going to end. This is not sustainable, right? Like, I mean, how much have you been up every single day on your equity position, you guys, in the chat? Like, if you have large, you just know, right? Something sus is about to happen. And having been there, I don't know, I had to, and I sent this in our group yesterday at the close. I mean, nobody believes me when I say this kind of stuff, but I literally sent $100 puts at the close yesterday on Robinhood as my hedge for equity. And I actually think it's okay today. So today, it came back in, and I think it was fine. I think today is day 2, and I like where it stopped. So I took them down. I opened those at like $80, and I closed them the very next day at like $380. So that was like a triple overnight.
Yeah.
Just on a hedge, which did more than its job. And I'm happy. But also this is why I didn't want to sell cover calls, because it's Hoodie. It's Hoodie, man. Like tomorrow it could wake up at 120. And I wouldn't really be surprised, and I don't really want to get called away. But this pullback to 98 is the retest of this prior breakout. Now this
Do you think it was healthy today that we bounced from 98.75?
I think it needs to go sideways. I think the healthy move from here is just to continue to go sideways. I would like to see zero profit on this position equity for like a week, and ideally zero loss, but I'll take some losses. That's fine. If you have some cover calls, I think you're okay. But I mean, at this point, I would be like selling 150 cover calls.
Yeah,
not
way
like,
out of the money. Yeah,
like way out of the money for like maybe January 2026 150s.
Okay, so in the same breath, Rocket Lab, which you think also needs a breather,
also took 45 puts on Rocket Lab. So here's what I was seeing. So see these little volume shelves? So up here on Hoodie at 113, I was like, oh God, the 20-day is down here. I think Hoodie could come down to 93. I don't want to see it any lower. If it's at 93, we're probably in a little hurt. I don't think it gets there. This is why literally right here, I would love to see it stop.
Right.
If it gets below this shelf, then I need to put some serious protection on. And then if that happens, then I could probably, then at that point, I would probably legitimately think about selling some aggressive cover calls, meaning like at the money or maybe in the money cover calls, because cover calls from an income perspective, they don't protect your stock, right? That only in the money cover calls actually protect your equity position. But like I said, I at that point, it's more like a costless collar. Like you would collar the stock is what I'd be looking at. We're not there yet. Not even thinking about that. Not here for that today. But we do have earnings. So I think coming into this end of the month, we've had a huge run. I think seeing some kind of profit taking is to be expected after a move like this. And yeah, I think this is perfectly normal. And I would love to see some kind of sideways action. And even more than that, I'd love to see some buyers step in the mid 90s as it kind of chops around 100. That would be ideal.
So on Rocket Lab, I'm assuming you think it's the exact same setup.
Exact same. When I saw this on Rocket Lab, I'm like, whoa, okay. So Rocket Lab was more like a 45 put. So up here, I don't know if it was news or not. They got a little bit more news today. But this press, all of this 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row, real big candles. And then this move, it was like yesterday. So having so many green days in a row that were so big, the first red day, I'm like, wow. It's really just as simple as looking at it yesterday and being like, okay, this is the move. Yesterday here, when we look at it, and let me just make this after hours a little bit clearer.
By the way, Webull, yes, is moving after hours. I don't see any news on it, but for whatever reason it's moving. It is moving. 1730 is Webull after hours. Now, again, one thing to remember is they have a shelf offering of 75 million shares. So whenever they want to dump that 75 million, they can. They're probably waiting for a really good price. Maybe that's 20, maybe that's 22, whatever it is.
I'll be on Saturday. So Friday, buy your puts.
Friday afternoon, yeah.
That's how they do. This is Friday. So like green day. And then this was yesterday. When it closed below that Friday's closing price, that's when I knew, okay, this is hot, heavy. It's still not over it. So I think this is still at risk. It's really this $47 level that it needs to get back over. So if somehow Rocket Lab gets back over, then it's in the clear. But for now, that Friday, last Friday's low is going to act like resistance, if you will.
Right.
So that's where that top wick was. I think it got some news today. It's constructive. I think they're both good. And it's just basic pullbacks. Overall, I don't think that we're going to break down here and now. we still have earnings season to come, right? I think a lot of this is just profit taking ahead of earnings reports. And then as we get closer to those earnings reports, I think a lot of these will recover right before.
Right.
And then they become that show me story during the reports. I think that's what's going to happen. And then after those reports come August, that's when we really see, okay, where are we? We can reassess the situation. Do we really need to take measures, or is seasonality out the door and maybe we have a green September?
Okay. NVIDIA, what do you think is going on there?
Same story. So coming in hot, you have a little bit of a gap that looks like it's going to fill. Today, where it stopped is kind of important. Dude, I got an itch in my throat.
Yeah. No, drink some water. Weeble I don't know what the news is, folks, but she's almost at 18 after hours. So whatever it is, the street likes it. It was up 16% during the day, up 5% after hours. Is it the next Wall Street bet stock? I mean, why not? So that could be happening too.
Well, what I can tell you is that we measured this area on Technical Tuesday. That's exactly where she went. But if she gets out of this, so this is from this consolidation in August, right here. So this consolidation is the extension.
Right.
From this consolidation break. And if I make this a little bit darker for you guys.
We'll do UNH as well in a bit. We'll talk about that one.
Well, I don't understand first of all, is it going up?
I mean, it's not going down as much as it was before.
Okay, can we just wait till it goes up? I mean, it's simple.
GoPro also up 50% after hours.
I'm out of cough drops. So this is the target, 173.70. That's the extension. So it needs to get over that. Somehow, it's like, what do you call this? Male astrology for the win. Again, 173.70. This is target acquired. So expect some sideways action. If I put in like our simple moving averages, the 20-day, so you have a session gap down around 163, 66. Doesn't mean it's going to stop there, but 166 is the bottom of this box. I think chopping around this area is fine, but it really, chop means like this. It can come back in like this. But this is going to be very dependent on the rest of your Mag 7s. The next level would be in that 199 to 192 for the next extension area here. But this is going to start moving based on everyone else's reports. So we got Google, then we have Apple. Google and Apple are not going to say anything good about NVIDIA. So so if anything, Google is probably going to talk good about AMD. Just saying that, because they have a partnership with AMD, as far as I'm aware.
Meta has a very intimate one with AMD as well.
Really? I think Meta buys a lot from NVIDIA.
Yeah, but AMD.
So I actually would expect, Meta to have something good to say about.
Okay, so for you, it's really based on earnings and them showing you.
Yeah, I don't know that it would just be me, but I think that that the viewers would need to understand that this is typical for NVIDIA here now. It's going to start to move based on everyone else's reports. NVIDIA is the very last Mag 7 to report. And from here moving forward, it's going to be the big ones that NVIDIA is going to move off of: Microsoft, Meta, and Amazon. So Microsoft, Meta, and Amazon, not Google. They're the smallest of the cloud players. Amazon's the biggest of the cloud players. Microsoft's the second biggest of the cloud players. So the biggest one is going to be Amazon. Second biggest one is going to be Microsoft. And then the third biggest is actually going to be Meta, even though they don't have a public cloud, but they're the biggest hyperscaler. Possibly Tesla, if they start talking about, actually, Tesla could actually move NVIDIA because they have a huge NVIDIA footprint. And if they start talking about Optimus and their build out with Grok, Tesla doesn't have any AMD footprint. So now that I'm externally processing this, it's possible that Tesla moves NVIDIA because they're a huge buyer.
So speaking of AMD, can we do that one? Because that one broke through 161, which was very exciting to see. But
so, I mean, we did kind of say AMD was no longer going to be the advanced money destroyer, did we not?
Yeah.
I mean, called it.
Do you want a cookie?
Not like a parade. A parade would be good. That would be nice.
This one seems to just be following NVIDIA, though.
Dude, if it was following NVIDIA, it would be at the highs.
No, I mean, like, look at it today, down 3%, NVIDIA down 3%. That's what I mean. As in, it was at the highs at 161, not the all-time highs, but at the 52-week highs, compared to.
I think AMD does its own thing, but we do look at the cycle here. So AMD, so possibly NVIDIA starts to rebound soon. I will say that AMD reports not next week, but the week after. So when I say look at the calendar to time to, so as a trader, as weird as this sounds, and as like everyone says, oh, you can't time the market, I kind of make it my business to at least attempt to time the market. And around earnings, we can do this a lot because we know that the pre-earnings run, the real like the very last pre-earnings run starts 2 weeks before the earnings report. So I'll say that again. So one of the last moves before the earnings announcement starts 2 weeks before. So if we know that the AMD report is not next week, but the week after, here and now, this is 2 weeks before. Today, this bounce right off here, 147.99, this past double top here, this move, I think, is actually pretty constructive. So up here, that was a doubling of this area. If AMD can hold this 150, I actually think that this begins its next move, which would be into the 170 area, which, if you remember from this low, wherever it was, I think 100s, 108s. I didn't want to say it back then, but I did say it back then. The target was actually 170 from down here. Somebody grab that recording, but I said the target was 170. Here we are, 160 something. I think this could be that moment that you actually get there. By the way, that's a huge gain just on equity.
Yeah.
From here to there in the span of, I think I should get a raise, you guys. I don't know. I've been lobbying for a raise. This guy doesn't even pay me. I don't know what I'm talking about.
We pay you in love, bro. We all love you.
I appreciate it. It's a big deal. These lines that I have on my chart here, this is from this swing high to this swing low. So this yellow line that I have here, this is the 50% mark. I'll put this is a 618, and I use a 6.5, which we talk about later. So that's going to be 169. I can turn this volume shelf off for just a minute. You don't need that, just for clarity. So as long as 151.86, which is that, I think this is on log scale. Is this log scale? God.
DNUT, by the way, moving 20% after hours.
Krispy Kreme.
Never mind, 31% after hours, after a 26% move during the day.
Dude.
So there you go. I agree. One of you said people are rotating out of one meme to another. I think that could be happening here.
Is this 50%? This just seems crazy. Oh no, because that's 225. Yeah, so 151 is about 50% from 230 down to 76. So it's made the 50% recovery. If you can hold that, then this is called the golden zone. But I like to target this thing called the golden pocket, which is a little bit different. That is between 170 and 174. That is the ultimate target right in here. That is it. I know other people are talking some crazy stuff. I'm not shooting for that. I just got to go one step at a time. But from a technical perspective, that can happen before earnings. Post earnings, that's post earnings. I can't say technicals after earnings. I have to reset after earnings. So all of this was just based on technicals, not fundamentals. And here we are. So honestly, yeah, this has got to be the very tail end of the trade. This is just with the profits that are left. Majority of this has happened. So it's been a good trade. Do you need to press it? No. Is there possibly a little bit left? Yes. Is it a large position from here? No.
Okay, so let's do SOFI. And before that, real quick, while you're pulling it up, Pulte just tweeted, I met with Congresswoman Green today to discuss her new legislation on no capital gains for home sales. So it looks like they're going to try to make it happen. I mean, it wasn't just a rumor. Trump did confirm that they were thinking about it, and Pulte, he's been moving. So if they're trying to get this done, yeah, no capital gains tax for home sales. Don't get too excited. That doesn't mean like if you're an investor in real estate that you can just flip houses with no capital gains tax. I don't know.
Dude. I mean,
yeah, that they're exploring no capital gains tax.
Do you know how massive that is?
It's a pretty big deal. Now the question is,
my Home Depot calls are going to be so green.
Your what calls are going to be so green?
My Home Depot.
Oh, your Home Depot. Well, it theoretically could incentivize a lot of home building, but I'm curious on the specifics of how they do it, and there's no way it's 100% no capital gains tax. Like, there has to be some nuances to this, but
I'm just saying, home builders, dude, from the lows are one of the biggest values right now in the market. Period.
Well, DR Horton crushed today as well.
Yeah, I think, and we have FOMC next week, which we have 95% probability no rate cut, and we don't even have a rate cut really. We have a 50% probability between October and November. Either one of those two, 50% probability October, November. So, and we don't have a FOMC in August. So that means that after next week, we are very close to the next rate cut. The home builders are, to me, one of the deepest values in the market at this moment. So like if I'm buying something, that's where I'm buying. If I want deep value, if I want something off the lows that's been de-risked, that's where I am. I own this stock that I've just owned for a while, and I was like, I was shocked. It doesn't move a whole lot. I mean, it does, but it's a very expensive stock. Have you heard of this? It's called NVR.
No.
It's a home builder, but it was up like 6% today.
$7,000 a share, really?
They
didn't think of doing a split in the past 20 years?
No, they're not going to split. It's like $500 something up per share. I'm like, dude, it's ripping.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very important. And for everyone saying it's about if you live in your personal residence for 2 years and there's a specific cap, that's what the current legislation says. If these guys come out and totally revamp it, which maybe they will, maybe they won't, That's where it could be an entire surprise to the real estate sector.
No, it's homes is a big deal right now. Like people are locked in their homes. They can't really sell. Like that's a game changer.
All right, SoFi.
SoFi, I think we're so a lot of this yesterday and today, I honestly think that it's a shakeout moment. I think that you really need to buy that stupid dummy battery if you haven't already. I'm a little upset that the camera's still glitching. I just don't know what's going on.
The camera did not glitch. I purposely did that. You'll know if it glitches if I have to change my camera, but it's good.
But you still look good. I think that today is just one of those profit-taking days. If we looked at the indexes, it was a beautiful to the penny. Actually, you can look at my Twitter. It was as good of a retest that you can get from a technical perspective on the breakout at the index level so far. SoFi is similar. Can they go deeper? Yeah, they can. Is this a spot where like you want to, dive right in? No, because look, we're still pretty hot. But is it a spot where I think these are all areas where like you stay the course. If you go up a little bit, make a lower high. I think these are like sit on your hands levels. Stay the course. SoFi has made a huge run July 29th, right? So this is, if you look at the banks, if you look at any of these, we've had our 2-week run. This is the week right before you have earnings, which is SoFi. You get a little bit of profit taking. And then a couple days before earnings, you get bought right back up. So I think on a SoFi, this is exactly what you're seeing. You might have another down day, maybe. And maybe it comes in like this, and then you get sideways. And then it comes right back up right before earnings. And then it's the show me story. I think that's exactly that. And so that
essentially is
this is the typical course of action, like as we get into earnings. And at the end of the day, the whole market ends completely flat, like because money starts to rotate.
BMNR. Any quick thoughts on that one? Are you in it at all? Okay, you're in it. You're a Tom Lee fanboy. There you go.
I mean, look, if you, so I don't think it's a horrible lotto. Like if someone, okay, so there's not really any technicals to do here. What I could say is that there's SBET and there's BMNR. SBET has options. So there's probably more technicals to do on SBET than there is on BMNR. Plus, SBET can be a little bit more squeezy because SBET can have the gamma type squeeze because of the options dynamics, where BMNR does not have that. So you're gonna have less volatility in BMNR because of that. But at the end of the day, if there's interest, they will release options on BMNR. Let me just make sure that I'm not talking out of my punani, whatever. No, there's no option still.
Yeah, not yet. You like it. You like leverage against Ethereum.
No. I think that if you're gonna, I'm not a huge believer that Ethereum is gonna be like the thing. But if you like Tom Lee, if there was a person that's gonna have the potential sauce, look at this camera guy. If there was a person that's gonna have the sauce that might be worth throwing some bucks into a drawer, locking the drawer, and losing the key, it's probably BMNR. But that's kind of how you have to go about it.
Okay. That is fair. HIMS, any thoughts on that one? This has been stuck from 45 to 50 for a minute now.
Yeah. This looks like a great stock right now to be selling some callers, both sides. Are you doing that?
I'm not. I have not DC. I have 700 shares, average 55. I've just.
No, I mean selling calls. It's like selling $50 calls, $50 puts.
Nope, nothing. I have not looked at or touched this position at all. I've told myself I'm going to learn about this Novo stuff, and I just have not had time for it. They have earnings though in like 2 weeks, so I think that's going to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, don't, maybe not.
Yeah, August.
But this has been stuck for a minute.
Okay, so kind of consolidating.
It's still consolidating. It's like, well, like you said, they have something's brewing, but it's still a wait and see. It's not been able to get over that hump, that 50 area.
Right. Okay.
Basically right here now.
UNH, if any thoughts. If not, we'll move on.
This is not a good looking chart right now. It looks like poo-poo caca, but it's a very technical term, by the way. So I guess I could go back to the Coinbase chart, possible patient zero, where, a lot of these start where they look like they're about to fall off a cliff, but just before they do, they somehow magically get saved. I don't know, like magical saved. If that were to happen on UNH, that point is at 270. So here, this is currently what you would define as a not falling knife, but also falling knife, but a bear flag that's broken down and actually fired, but being saved right at a key fib. So, I mean, if this breaks down below 276, this is going to see the 270, but you have earnings. So I think this July 29th might save it in the meantime, and you could possibly see a rebound. If I take these simple moving averages off for just a minute, the way that these work is if this is your, let's call it bear flag, sometimes what happens is that if you get a bounce like this, what the hell? Like this, you can get this kind of bounce. And if this is the extension, it'll look really bullish just for a second. But honestly, that could be a short. So you just got to be cautious. You can have a trade like this. So that's 290. If you get a recovery and a hold over 290, cool. It's tradable. This is not a long time trade. That is a fake bounce for a short time trade because you're still in this box. It's not out of the box. The box being 327 to 270. That's $100. Well, 270. It's a $50 box, but that's the box. It's not out of the box. So if you want to trade in the box, by all means, have at it. But there she is. If it does at some point get out of the box, cool. But that has to look like all the way back up and over, and then you're talking about. Actually, it would be like this. It would be like that. So this would be your real trade. But again, we're not talking about that. At this point, we're talking about something like this. So you're way early to be thinking recovery. 290 is your key pivot. to get back to the top of the box of 325, which, hey, actually, that's a good looking trade. But does that happen in time to get out before earnings? It's possible. That's a week. Can it make a $30 move in a week? It probably could. Probably could. But we'll have to see.
Okay, Meta. Any thoughts on this one as Zuck starts spending as much as he is? I think Google definitely has an impact on them tomorrow as well.
You think so?
Well, if ad spend across the board is up or down.
So today's rejection off the 20 is not, that's not ideal. So you got one. So you've lost the 20 definitively now. So see how this was riding the 20-day simple up until basically this last week, Wednesday the 16th, you're the first breakdown. So these are like the first. So how this usually works is that you play this simple moving average ping pong. This looks like 683. And then it'll probably bounce back up. This blue line is that 50-day simple. But yeah, it looks like it's got a finishing move downside. So you might get a better dipper. And I don't even know that it'll go straight back up. You don't want this losing the 50-day. But, dude. Yo, this looks short.
I just think the street is very concerned about how much money he's spending.
This does not look good. All right, so I don't have time to get into the weeds on this, but if you're in our server, if you're in our trading group, ping me on this tomorrow. We got to look into this because this looks. I need to check when I say that. What I need to do as a trader is I need to go on the option chain and start looking at where's the flow here. Am I seeing any unusual options activity? Are they targeting some downside here? I do see a pretty heavy like gap in here. Do I think that's like realistic? No, not unless it's below the 50. But now that it's lost 1, 2, this morning is the third attempt to reclaim that 20-day simple. If it tries again tomorrow morning, like so again, 4 times, right? So 1, 2, 3 times to reclaim that 20-day simple. If it tries again tomorrow, okay, I think it probably does reclaim it, and that's possible. But if it loses this, what is that, 700 in strength, that's going to be rough. So I think it's like sitting on the edge of the fence right now. And with earnings, maybe this is one to watch tomorrow as a trader, not a big thing, but just a possible trader for tomorrow, a big mover. Either way, if it gets back over tomorrow, this could be plus or minus $30 to $40 based on where it's sitting quickly.
Okay, grab.
Oh, this thing, dude. This thing's been on a move. Oh, no. It's all over the place, dude.
It is.
What happened? It was so high. Almost, it was $6 almost the other day.
That was after hours, but
yeah, that's I hate after hours. They always make you cry. That's why you never look at it after hours. Nothing but lies and deceit after hours.
That's very true.
That's what I always tell my guys. So it wasn't even earnings.
It's nothing. I think it's anticipation of earnings is what.
When is earnings? I don't even know.
Next Wednesday.
Oh. There it is. I mean, the chart is looking. So look at this. They got the little liquidity grab. Dude, I just think you stay the course.
I think so too. I mean, it's closing above levels. Like it hasn't closed 540 in almost 9 months. Like last time I did that was November, roundabout December.
Yeah.
So I think it's making solid progress, but fundamentally they just need to have strong execution now as well. And I think it can stay the course.
Yeah, so I just did this basic consolidation. It would be 640 if it can get a daily or weekly close over that 570. That next level would be around 650.
Yeah. Okay.
You want me to adjust this?
Yeah, you can.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, it's there. We'll see. Earnings is going to mess this up. So whatever happens with earnings, but this lower wick is interesting. Just kind of tag that little trend line.
This is an obvious inverse head and shoulders to you, right?
I'm not a pattern person, so patterns fail more than they actually play out correctly. So no, yes and no. It's an ugly ass one. It could be like one of those cubby handles. It's just more what I see this as accumulation. So I see this as accumulation in general. So like most accumulation happening right in this area with one like larger liquidity grab down in the middle and then reaccumulation here. So this is heavy support and you can see that in the volume shelf here. We call this Wyckoff general support. Buyers have created a support level, new support level that's been established over the course of 2 years or over the course of the last year. So I think you've created a solid investor base, very solid investor base here around that like low 5, mid 4 level. So now it's just kind of like the show me story.
Right. Okay, makes sense. Adobe. Any thoughts on that one?
Well, you mean left field here, bro.
Also, wait, you got 3 minutes left, and then you're out.
I'm getting some calls.
3 to 5 minutes. That's fine. We can do like.
It's fine. I have a lot of filming to do. We're doing this big.
I'll get you out in 5 minutes. I'll get you out.
It's fine.
Yeah,
do we have any super chats?
Yeah. Well, okay. So we'll do Adobe, then we'll go through a couple super chats, and then we'll.
Adobe looks like it's hitting that 20 days simple. It's a higher low after higher high. So structure looks actually. You want to take a shot? I think you can.
I know if people fundamentally feel this is super undervalued. I question their moat every day, but
I don't think it matters. Like well, so I think it depends on your time frame. I don't think that this has to be long-term time frame right now.
I agree.
So like if you want to trade, because this is the trading segment of AK Media show, this can be for a good time, not a long time. And something like this, you can take up to possibly as high as 400, which is about $25. Near term, you're going to have a lot of struggle around 390 for sure. But if you can break through that 20-day, I think you're okay. If you can get a base around that 370 and you hold that 370 level, that looks like a buyable dip in the meantime.
Okay. Before some of the super chats, Palantir, which has kind of been chilling around 150. What do you think about this?
Well, I didn't sell anything. I didn't do anything here. Do you have any cover?
I'm happy you're holding on, bro. You don't really care about Palantir that much. So the fact that you're holding on is
no. I mean that's you know.
I mean,
the thing is that this one's not a huge position, right? It's not like a hoodie. Hoodie scares me sometimes. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, you're like Palantir's gonna be a $500 stock. I'm like hoodie's gonna be like a $500 stock. I'm like, yeah. Imagine one day. Remember this. Mark my words. Palantir, Hood, $8, $8, 300, 300.
That's gonna be crazy, bro.
I'm just saying.
Legit would be crazy.
These look like decent days. Do they have to turn around? No. I think both of them are due for a little bit of rest. Do I like selling cover calls near dated? No. I don't have I do have a soundboard. I'm going to get a new soundboard. Do I need to work on a shot clock graphic?
StreamYard doesn't allow it anyway, so that's the issue. That's why we can't show it on. They just don't allow external graphics to be applied.
So when you have a day like this, so candlestick class, what's before 101 in college? 100?
I think so.
See, he didn't really go to college. This
I did not go to class, bro.
You have a body, which is the middle part, and then you have a wick or a shadow, which is the big long line. When the wick is this big long, when the bottom piece, the bottom wick or shadow is much longer on the bottom, that's more constructive. And then the body, this is a daily candle, by the way, is closer to the top. This just means that today, earlier in the day, it came down heavy, and then buyers stepped in, but it closed towards the high, albeit the whole day is below the prior day, but this is somewhat constructive. So this is the line, 151.36 right here. If it gets over 151.36, you're in the clear. This is a daily candlestick. From a weekly perspective, I like this. I think this can chill. Yeah, right where the bottom is, 148, 149. That's fine. Where the bottom of this weekly level stopped, 145. Yeah, we're happy. Happy camper. Let it be. Not going anywhere. Not going higher. This is like a hoodie. Just be. Just be. Let it be.
Okay. I'll do like 3 or 4 of these like super quick rapid fire names, and then we'll end it off, I think, with Ethereum, which is something as well. SMCI. Any thoughts on that one? Outside of being pissed off at them every time.
I mean,
a lot of these do have earnings coming up, so it is kind of hard right before.
Well, I think we should do Apple.
Okay, we'll do Apple.
So this is up. I actually don't hate SMCI right here, right now. Yeah, I don't hate this. I don't like the fact that a lot of the semis are kind of in pullback mode, but we'll have to see. These can come in a little bit more, 48s. But if they do, I want to see a little bit of a breach below that 200-day or the 20-day, and then recovery. So it's that white line. So this white line, I can see that white line breach. I'll draw it. At some point, it's got to be this week. If it's not this week, I don't want it. If price can come in and breach below the 20-day simple, pop back up, maybe this is a Thursday into Friday trade. You can do this in very short order. The move is into 60. This is for next. Maybe it's for next week. So maybe this is next week's move. Not even this week. Yeah, maybe this is a next week mover. So possibly this kind of thing. I just don't like it. I don't like taking SMCI over the weekend anymore because that's when you're going to get hit with an offering. Like if you took Webull over the weekend, you got hit with an offering. And SMCI, I took it once over the weekend. I got hit with an offering. So I'd rather not take these things over the weekends because stuff like SMCI, like a Webull, you can get hit with an offering.
Okay, Oscar, any thoughts on this one?
Oh yeah, it got just under 14.
At the 12.50.
Over 13, you got 12.
Yeah.
And you're back. Yeah, bam. So it's a nice bounce. So you got to the level. Great. Now you see. So you want to see this holding 14. Want to watch this hold 14. There's a lot of overhead supply. If you got in, great. You got to the level. Did you buy it?
I did not. No. Did you buy it?
Yeah.
What, at 13? 13.50?
A little bit.
Okay. A firm?
No, I didn't buy the bomb. A firm?
Yeah. And then we'll
I just traded Upstart today. I think these are good. So again, if you're in FOMC tomorrow, next week, you think, are we closer to rate cuts than all that? So a firm lost the 20-day. I think a firm has been holding a pretty heavy consolidation right in here. So a firm, I think, had its kind of day in the sun. This guy. Firm's a little bit harder at the moment. It has lost the 20-day. I was looking for this one, which did make some of the move to get into the 75 here. Very close, made some money here. I've moved on to Upstart. So if you know a firm, that's cool. This was that major break of structure, 67.35. It can easily get back over. If a firm is over 67.35, then it is in play to get. So there's this little volume shelf. At this point, it becomes pretty choppy. So call it 69.35 at this point. It's just doing a little bit of back and fill. So possibly a little bit lower. This one's building for that move into 75, possibly up to 80 right in here. I think at this point you move on to Upstart. These two companies take turns. Upstart has earnings August 5th. This one is in the setup that a firm was in not too long ago. So high and tight over the 20-day, same setup that a firm is coming out of here. Here's your level right there, 71. You see it on Upstart. Move over to Upstart from a firm. Here you have two. So right into 80s we got to today. If this can continue on, you got two more right about 88s, 87s, and possibly higher. So this is the Upstart 1, 2, 3. This is attempt number 4. It's a bit more squeezy. So this is the Upstart chart. Heavy squeeze mode on both of these. They just take turns. So this is where we are. Upstart. It can make some moves. A firm is similar, but again, give them time. They take turns. So a firm just took its first shot. That's going to back and fill, and then I'll come back.
Okay, Apple, and then we'll end it out with Ethereum.
Apple is doing the deal. So I think so. Again, July. So Google reports tomorrow, which means that now the focus goes back on Apple. So the last 2 weeks, Apple has been in, the last week or so, Apple has been in rest mode. Look at this. This is picture perfect consolidation right there. So this is how long? Is it been 22 days? No. From the lows, initial move to 215. Check, done, and done, right? It's a very quick move. Now we've had a lot of this consolidation. Google, the move is happened. So this is about 2 week consolidation. Here you go, Apple, 1, 2, 3. This here and now, you count with me. 1, 2, 3. This is, as we speak, attempt number 4. This is happening live today. This move takes you into this right there, 222. So if you're not in it, you're probably late. I think this is going down like tomorrow.
Dude, I bought Apple at 198 in my ETF, so I'm very happy.
Yeah.
It's doing its thing.
And Tom Lee says, don't count them out.
Tom Lee says, don't count him out. I mean, can you really ever count out Apple? You know?
You
Well, I counted out the Vision Pro, which I've been completely correct on. But Apple, the company, I don't think you can count out. Vision Pro is a flop. We all know it was a flop. You don't got to sugarcoat that. That was not pretty.
I haven't bought any.
Okay, Ethereum.
So this is a big one. I think this can happen in the next week, which this is a large market cap move for Apple, but this is a very low volume pocket. This was D-Day or not Liberation Day move. How quickly this came down from a short-term trading perspective. This is literally weekly calls for Friday. I'm in 215s. I'm thinking about rolling to 217.50s, not financial advice. 220s are going to be a little bit too far out of the money, but if you have leaps and stuff, this is that same move that we talked about for Google. If you have anything further, like if you have August or January's, that's fine. You let this play out, but then right before earnings next week, you got to take all that down, leave some runners, and then it's a show me story. Okay.
All right, Ethereum, is this going to 15,000 like Tom Lee says?
What?
End of year 15K.
The most I can see is 45.
Really? That's it? That's all you think it goes?
I mean, if I'm gonna measure level to level, so Ethereum's been like consolidation for a while. This was we were here, and let me get further out. Yeah, okay, so this is back.
Some of you guys think it's going to 30K, bro. People are getting bullish. People are getting bullish. And there's a company called Bullish that's going public soon. Yeah, TXN, that one's still down.
55?
Dude, you're too bearish.
No, you can't do it.
5 is nothing, bro. Why are we so interested in Ethereum then? We can get more from freaking Google. I mean,
I'm definitely dead serious. I'm not sold that Ethereum is your answer. So first of all, here's your tippy top, right? You're right back into this consolidation. So this was the consolidation that ETH has been in forever, right in here. It had broke down and it caught this low or this is 2018 high, caught, boom, right here, 1500, and saved itself, came back into the consolidation. You're not out of consolidation. So this is not out of the weeds, to be fair. If it does break out, because of the way, just like Bitcoin, because of the way it started as a straight up breakdown, and again, how Coinbase started, how a lot of this stuff starts, because it starts as a straight up breakdown, that liquidity grabbing setup sets up for these to actually go ahead and do the deal. The first stop is in this 5,500 area. At that point, you can pull back and they get to 56, possibly 8. But you got. I don't believe that Ethereum works the same. Ethereum is not. Here's what we're not talking about on Ethereum. It is not a fixed supply. So it's not Bitcoin. It does not work the same. is not fixed supply.
I think most people know that, but people are thinking the utility with stablecoins is going to be so massive that it'll still benefit the price.
It could, but yeah, so there's been a lot of updates to Ethereum that I'm not super in tune on. When staking comes in and you start having yielding products, it changes tokenomics in a large way. There's no kind of burns going on. I don't know if you know what burning is. So those are all things that when you get in a crypto world, the cryptoverse, it's very in the weeds. You want to be somewhat up to date, or at least attempt to stay up to date on the tokenomics. Tokenomics is the term, on like basically the token supply, because it's in flux, and everything is not like Bitcoin where it's not a fixed supply, and they don't all work the same. So that's the key differentiator. But
so you're bullish, but not uber bullish.
Well, it's just not built the same way. It's just not. So I don't know the ETH 2.0, if the staking mechanism, when you build staking into the platform, it's built-in dilution. Just, you have to understand that. And I don't really know how that affected the tokenomics. And if people are really buying that much more Ethereum and they're starting to yield Ethereum, I like I said, I've not been up to date crazy like that much on this.
All right, to end it out, thank you for the $100 super chat. MSTR. This was
There's no second best.
Would you be long MicroStrategy right now, or you're too scared of it with Bitcoin here?
No, well, it's definitely not a short, man. I'll tell you that.
Dude, he has 615,000 Bitcoin, something like that. I mean,
I think you can be long MSTR, dude. I'm just gonna say it.
I can't blame you. I mean,
I think you can be long all this stuff. Is it the beginning and the end? I don't know. I do think that, look, that I've had a crypto strategy for a very long time, and that is not this stuff. It's not Bitcoin proxies. My crypto strategy is hyperscale layer ones because of all this stuff, right? Like, is Ethereum hyperscale? No, it's not really. But, it would be Solana. I think the biggest discount in the crypto space is Avalanche, period, bar none. Does that mean it's the one that's going to like moon? No, but could it 10x easily? This technically looks pretty good, dude. This pullback retest of,
I mean, dude, we cracked 120 since.
This looks like 500, man. I'm just. What do you mean? Oh no! So we did the Bitcoin technicals. I think so. Bitcoin to 150. We were talking about adding a literal $1 trillion. Is it possible? Yeah, maybe, but that has to be like large institutions getting involved. How close are we to that? I don't really know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. That has to be like legislation moves. But we measured this on your show while you went to the bathroom or something, and it was like 126. And I think we're definitely gonna see that. In the meantime, all this other stuff, this can see 500 easily. I think 480 is more likely, 460s, maybe 475s. This is what I have measured, 470. We got pretty damn close anyways. But the doubling of this consolidation here Yeah. 460, just under 500 on MSTR. This earnings thing, I think maybe is MSTR does not move on earnings. There's nothing to report here. That's kind of dumb. But can it have an earnings run up? Yeah. This retest and hold of that 20, that's encouraging from a technical perspective.
Yeah.
MSTR likes to run on like Wednesday through Friday. It does. Them and Coinbase, both. So that's the personality of this guy.
All right. That is Jason. Jason, thanks for being on. We will get you next Tuesday. Hold on. I will let you know next Tuesday. Right now, do we have crazy earnings? No, we don't. All right. So Wednesday's good. Yeah, it's just it's like Starbucks Visa. We'll be done by like 4:20, but it's not like Amazon or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah. The only thing, so we are working on a lot of extra curriculum in our stuff. So we're trying to make this better for everybody. We've been pretty advanced as a trading group. So me and my team are doing a lot of production right now for trying to help newer traders on board. So we're doing a lot of basically production on the back end. I'm running like 20-hour days right now. See, I told you guys, you got to really. What camera?
It's the same camera, bro. It's not, maybe I cleared up the lens a little. It's a Sony A6400. I'm gonna get a new one when I move out to the apartment, but for now it's the same.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm trying to build out like a whole nother education curriculum for people that are newer to make this the ramping a lot easier. And we want to do this option 301. But what I'm talking about is even before options. We're talking like from the beginning, cradle to grave. So we haven't had that. We've not been super beginner friendly. So I'm trying to build that out. Put like, I don't know if you'd put like, at the end of this, we'll probably blow like $250,000 on education production. And maybe it goes for nothing, but hopefully it helps people.
Oh, that's good, bro. If you're investing that much into the business, obviously,
yeah,
a lot of momentum you're seeing. By the way, in the new apartment, I ordered the exact same mini fridge you have behind you. Oh, I texted you about this. Yeah, I told you.
Yeah, actually, dude, I'm very bummed. I bought these. I was very excited about them. Well, I can't open this box, but they are drink organizers.
Huh.
And they're the slideys. So like you put a can in and they slide the cans forward to make it nice, right? Organized. Yeah. But I brought the wrong ones because these are all like whatever. They're not clean. Now I have, and they weren't cheap. Who'd have thought? No. So anyways, so I have to go return them, buy new ones. We'll see. But yeah, now I have HQ. So this is going to be HQ1. Did I tell you? I didn't tell them. Yeah. HQ2 is under construction. We're going to do yin and yang. So you'll know this is HQ1. It's going to be the black hexagon with the white fireplace. HQ2 is going to be white hexagon with the black fireplace. That neon sign is going to be reversed with the black arrow, so you know which place I'm at.
What is HQ2 going to be near you or no? Yeah. Okay.
It'll be the back house at home, basically.
Well, you need to make a trip to New York so you could come visit me. Whenever, I know you have the kid, but whenever you're free.
Yeah.
New York needs to be here.
And I got all these new. Oh, dude, I got these. You should see. So Tony's got. I got 5 of these are the new whatever these are going to be.
Monitors.
Each one. I don't know if these are going to work or not. So we'll try these out for the new setups. We'll see.
All right. You and me both contributed to those damn Amazon earnings, bro.
Oh, bro. Yeah, that's right. That's true. So, yep.
All right, Jason.
Appreciate you guys. I appreciate all your support. I appreciate you, man. You rock. Sorry for my ADD modes.
You're good. We love you.
Love you too.
There's Jason's Twitter. You can follow him there. See you next
All
Tuesday.
right, guys. Adios. Late.
All right, folks. that is it for Technical Tuesday. Now, I have a couple of stories that I did want to cover that we didn't get a chance to cover yet. So I think we'll do like 20 more minutes. Do 20 more minutes covering a couple more stories, and then we'll be done for today. I mean, we had a bunch of things happen in the market, but not massive moves up or down. The S&P 500 still has not moved. It's the 19th day in a row since December where it's not moved 1% up or down. That's pretty incredible for it to be, because remember in April, it was down 2% like every other day, and then it would have a little recovery, 2.75, then it would go down 4%. Like every day there was a big swing on a $24 trillion market cap, which is the S&P 500. And now it's been like not that volatile. It's been not that volatile. So 20 more minutes is not 1 to 2 hours. What's the time? 5:45? All right, we're not going to be here till 6:45. Maybe. No promises. But anyway. All right. So couple stories. First of all, I just want to share a few things. Saw some charts I compiled, and then we'll end it out here real quick. Let's just take a look on the earnings that we had today and see how they ended up now that it's been about 2 hours. Texas Instruments still down 11%. If you had puts, congrats. Those printed. Chubb Limited, that's flat. SAP down 2%. That's nothing. Capital One up 2%. Also nothing. ISG flat, down 1%. And then Enphase got demolished. It was up 8%. Now it's down 7%. I didn't expect Enphase to go up 7% after hours, just given all the problems with solar and the new legislation that's out. So it was surprising that it pumped, but it looks like now Street's dumping, and maybe there was something in that guidance that just wasn't the best for Enphase. So that one is down 8%. Now, here are a couple of stats. First of all, the top stocks that were bought and sold on IBKR. This just came out. Tesla, NVIDIA, Circle, Opendoor, AMD, SBET, Palantir. Those are your top 7. Tesla, NVIDIA, 1 and 2, makes sense. Circle, crypto, AMD, semiconductors, SBET, Ethereum. So it's not just Robinhood that's trading these Ethereum treasuries. It's SBET as well, or it's IBKR as well. Palantir, which tends to be in the top names every day across the brokerages. And then Opendoor, number 4. Opendoor, by the way, lost all of its steam after hours. I mean, it's barely done anything. It's down another 7. Wow, I thought it was only down 2%. It's down another 7% after hours after being down 10% during the day. DNUT is acting a bit nutty right here, up 24% after hours. It was up 30%, so it hit 595. Now it's down to 514. I think people rotated out of some memes. Grab right here, 548. First 540 close in a year and a half, which is, or 9 months, I should say, rather, which is pretty incredible. Bitmine's up a little bit. Webull still up 2.4%, 1738. So that one's done very well. Robinhood's up a little bit. And then NVIDIA down another 0.5%. KSS after hours, that one's flat. And then Chegg is also down 2% after being up 24% on the day. Rocket is catching a bid. We found out today the stock is 50% short. It's a bit ridiculous. Up 45% year to date, up another 5% after hours. So that is your next like proxy rate cut play, potentially. $32 billion market cap. It's much more of a fundamental story than Opendoor when it comes to rate cuts. Price of sales of 6, not that crazy. And I mean, in this market, at least it's profitable, which is not the worst thing in the world. So 1685, that's up another 5% after hours. But those were the top stocks that were traded on IBKR, and I would imagine across Fidelity, Schwab, et cetera, all those same stocks were traded, just given all the retail volatility. Here is a video of the Tesla diner. I know a lot of people have been asking about what I think about this. Here's someone who took a video at the Tesla diner. We do have Tesla earnings tomorrow. We'll talk more about that, but this is another thing that I found pretty interesting from someone who was at the actual diner themselves.
This is the Tesla diner in Hollywood, California. And today I was the first person to drive in and check it out. There were girls on roller skates giving out ice cream. Can I grab one of those? Of course. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Optimist robots giving me popcorn. And yes, we're in California, so there were angry passerbys calling us names. Fascist! Fascist. That guy just yelled fascist at us in his Toyota Prius as he rolled by. Fascist! Okay. The bathrooms feel like you stepped into a spaceship in deep space. Exclusive merch was being sold, and I bought a black Optimus toy replica and some gummy bears that came in a lightning bolt case. Colorful? The lines were hours long, and every charger was full. This diner serves food 24/7, and the food was actually really good. I tried almost every meal on the menu, and it cost me nearly $200. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I also saw some of the most unique Teslas in the entire world.
Have you ever seen a Tesla that has bubbles that come out? And now you see it here at the Tesla Diner.
Whether you have a Tesla or not, I highly recommend you visit the Tesla Diner.
So, a lot of people have been asking what the Tesla Diner is like. I think it's pretty cool. Obviously, the impact of the diner on Tesla's bottom line is not really going to be anything meaningful, but it's really nice to see that they're embracing it, that they've officially unveiled it. The charging stations are really cool. I would imagine over the coming months, hopefully, there's going to be a lot more of these diners that show up. And it's just another way for Tesla to invigorate their audience and get more people interested in, being part of the Tesla community. I also thought it was kind of funny that the guy was called a fascist, but it is what it is. That is also one of the risks of owning a Tesla. Now, thankfully, although I'm in Jersey, which I guess you could say is liberal, I haven't had the experience of driving my Tesla and someone like giving me the middle finger or anything, because there's a lot of Teslas in New Jersey. Like, I think New Jersey is up there with California and Texas for the state with the most Teslas. So people didn't care too much here, but yeah, in some other states they do. All right, here's another chart that I thought was super interesting. Technology stocks are now 46% of the S&P 500. This percentage has doubled over the last 8 years. To put this into perspective, this percentage was 33% in the dot-com bubble. The top 5 stocks alone now reflect a record 27% of the S&P 500's market cap. The names also make up about 51% of the NASDAQ 100's market cap. I think this chart right here just goes to show how unbelievably important it is for earnings to be good. And Tesla and Google started off tomorrow. Netflix already, Netflix is kind of part of big tech, but they're not really part of the Mag 7. They had a good earnings, not a phenomenal earnings, but it was decent. We need Google, Meta, Amazon to have a phenomenal earnings. And I mean, if they don't, it's not the end of the world. But if they do, I think we get to hold 22 times on the S&P, if not expand it. If we don't, I think forget about expanding the multiple on the S&P, at least for now. Then we're going to have to look to some macro stuff like rate cuts to try to get us there. So Google and Tesla started off tomorrow, and I'm really hoping they are the ones that can set us in the right motion. But Meta, Amazon, Apple, etc., all these names need to put up the numbers, because these are at Broadcom, right? Like, these are the companies that truly do matter for the Mag 7 and for the market. If you're buying the market, you're buying these companies. Now, obviously, meme stocks are running, so there's different ways to play the market. But if you're buying the indices, or if you're buying the names that really are the core holdings of the indices, then they need to perform. AT&T tweeted this today to the space mob. I thought this was rather interesting. It says, we're the OG satellite comms innovator, space mob. They really whoever's running their social media is tapping into space mob in a pretty entertaining way. So you got AT&T basically getting the ASTS crew to get more excited about what they are doing as well. Broadcom basically is in the Mag 8. I mean, it is the 8th, if I'm not wrong, largest company. Yeah. I mean, Saudi Aramco is number 7. So if you take away Saudi Aramco, then you got Broadcom, 1.3 trillion. Then TSM's at 1.2. And then Tessie's at 1.0. Berkshire Hathaway's at 1.03. And then JP Morgan is right below that. So those are the companies. NVIDIA still at 4.073. That are the ones that have to execute. Tesla and Google report tomorrow at 4 p.m. 4:05. Kind of on the dot. We're going to see what Tesla and Google say, and then we'll keep going from there. Here's Ryan Dietrich. He's been bullish all year. Let's get his thoughts on if this rally can continue sustaining its momentum.
To fuel that even higher?
Yeah, thanks for having me back, and good afternoon, everybody. So there's a couple things. I think the one thing that's fascinating to us at the Carson Group is this market's hitting all-time highs as we're talking. There's not a lot of optimism. I know some of the meme stocks are starting to do some things there, but when we look at just investor sentiment polls, there's like 39% bulls, 39% bears, right? You look at big money. Last couple of weeks, they've decreased their bullishness, and the big one is hedge funds, which have missed majority of this rally, have the largest short position on the S&P 500 since early April. All right, that's a lot of fuel, in our opinion, to keep this rally going on good news, whether it be earnings or maybe inflation continues to improve or the economy avoids a recession, whatever it is. Those lowered expectations to us. We said it'd be a summer rally. It wasn't popular. It's happening. We think it's not over yet.
When you look at the sort of sentiment that is driving the meme stocks and driving the momentum, would you consider that to be frothy, or is it just optimistic?
Yeah, I think more optimistic. I mean, listen, you talk to 10 people, get 10 answers on this one, and it's just started to flare up again. We all think back to GameStop, of course, in 21, and that was near a potential peak. But again, when we see what hedge funds are doing, large institutions, I mean, they've missed this rally. They have to get back in. And what's like one of the best sectors this year? Industrials. Industrials are like doubling the return of the S&P 500. It's not like that's a group everybody's jumping up and excited about with financials and technology, with the right groups, the I guess we'll call it the offensive things leading. That's what matters to us. Yes, you've got the optimism with the excitement, I guess we'll say, with the meme stocks, but big picture, there's just a lot of money that will still push this higher, in our opinion.
We are about 8 points higher than we were yesterday on the S&P 500. So if we stay where we're trading, it'll set another record day. Are you seeing signs that are particularly bullish on the S&P?
Yeah, the first one, I mean, listen, today's barely up, right? It feels like we haven't had a big day in a while. We haven't had a 1% down day in S&P since before Flag Day, okay? That was in the middle of June. What's the old saying? Don't short a dull market, right? This is pretty dull. Now, one that's fascinating, the S&P 500 has been above its 20-day moving average for almost 3 months now. That's the longest streak since 1998. We went back 50 years. When you go about 3 months above that short-term trend line like we are right now, and then you start the clock, what happens next? 1 year later, up between 19 and 26%. A year later, higher every time, and higher 6 months later every single time. So the reality is this blast of strength the last 3 months, in our opinion, is extremely rare, but it tends to take place, at the start of a new bullish phase. I know it sounds kind of crazy to say, but that's what we're seeing here.
And that's essentially what Tom Lee was saying as well, which is that after a 20% drawdown like we saw in April, and a recovery to the tune of basically 20% now, like almost 32%, that's the start of a new bull market, which sounds crazy, but historically, that's kind of how it plays out. And if that continues to be the case, then we are actually in a start of a bull market, but we need the earnings to justify it. And if we can get those earnings, I think the market would be more excited. Yeti, a lot of you guys have been talking about this one, YETI. I think Dumb Money did a podcast on this, and this is one of the new names, correct me if I'm wrong, that they are interested in. When I think of Yeti, I think of the microphone. I don't know if that's exactly the company that builds the microphone, or do they build... No, I think this is the company that they've been talking about. Outdoor gear. Is this it? Drinkware, outdoor gear. I don't think they make the microphone if they're talking about this one. So if it's this one, coolers. Okay, so it's this thing. It's this thing right here, right? Yeah, so it's this outdoor gear. Coolers, bags, drinkware. Okay, so it's not the microphone one. It's a redneck Williams-Sonoma. I have no idea why Chris Camillo likes this. I did not watch the podcast. I saw him tweet about it, but it was up 5% today. I will look at it. Chris Camillo is someone I respect. So if he says take a look at it, I will take a look. $3 billion market cap. How much is this performing year to date? Yeti stock year to date is nothing. So it doesn't seem like it's too late to get in. It's flat year to date and hasn't made a crazy move like an open door. Yeti mugs are super expensive. Look it up. Okay, let's look it up. So if I want to buy a mug... Oh, I feel like I've seen these in like videos. Dude, $32 for a water, it's $40 for this thing. This is different than Stanley though, right? Stanley's the name of that water this thing is like, wasn't Stanley the original name of whatever this water cup looks like? Straw mug, I guess is what you call it. Okay, so how are they getting away with charging $50 to $100? It looks like either there's some amazing quality associated with this, or their branding. Stanley copied Yeti, really? Okay, so maybe... How do you not know Yeti? I really had no idea about this brand. I mean, the products look similar to me, to like things I've seen in the real world, but it's the bag that went super viral on TikTok. Oh, that actually makes sense why Camillo likes it, because he's on TikTok 24/7 looking at the trends. And so you could imagine that he probably saw a lot of people talking about it. So he's probably doing a social arb play. Their tote bags are $130. That's a bit expensive. Book bags, $250. Lunch bag is $80 for a lunch bag. Okay, so there is a lot of brand here. there is a lot of brand here, or brand value here, that is getting people excited. Yeah, when he's not watching Love Island, exactly. Dude, I still have not watched that show. I don't know. People got obsessed with that show. If it was on Netflix, I feel like it would have been even bigger. But I did not at all take a look at. I don't even know. I barely know what the show is about. All I know is it beat ChatGPT on the App Store for like 2 weeks. Okay, so bougie outdoor products. So dumb money, there might be a real thesis they have behind it. Obviously, a lot of names have not had any meaningful thesis outside of short squeeze. DNUT right here up 24% after hours. But I'm curious to see, can the open door momentum continue? That's what I'm curious to see. Now, one of the reasons people are flagging open door getting hit today is because there was a company that has open in their name. I'm forgetting their full name, but they have open in their name. And I think they also have door in their name. I think it's like the open door or something like that, the next door. And they filed 27 million shares of dilution. 27 million shares of dilution. And the argument from the open door bulls is that, hey, the open door algos thought that open door filed 27 million shares of dilution, which they did not. And they dumped it based on that headline. Now, if that's either that's cope, or that's like a legit reason for why the algos got confused, I think there is a shot that the algos interpreted that as open door. But at least to the bulls, that's why they said this thing fell 17% today. Granted, I mean, you would think the algos would recognize that that's a mistake and then bid it back up, and that hasn't happened. That hasn't happened. So that one continues to be down about 7%. Yes, I'm wearing a Raptors hat today. Decided to rep T. Dude, I love Toronto. I can't wait to go back to Toronto. I had a great time in Toronto. I had a great time. Hopefully we can make it happen. Okay, update on the Miami meetup, and I think then we'll end it out here. So I talked to the restaurant owner again yesterday after talking to them on Saturday. And basically they said, we still can't confirm the restaurant for you yet. We are working on it, but there is a possibility that you don't get the restaurant. And it is what it is, right? That's business. It's just sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. However, someone messaged me over the weekend, and I talked to him yesterday as well. And there is a backup space. And this backup space, the reason I'm bringing it up right now is because it's not a restaurant, but it can host more than 400 people. And the restaurant had a cap. I did get the limit from it. It had a cap of 250. Now, almost 500 people. I'll put the link again in the chat. What's the updated number? Yeah, about 500 people signed up for this. So now, are 500 people actually going to come? I don't know. But if we do get more than 250, like there would have to be a legit cap to the meetup. And so I think the restaurant's top priority. If they give it to us, I think we're going to do it. And I'll try to make some system to confirm all 250 who are good to go. But if not, we do have a pretty decent backup. I don't want to say what the backup is, but it can host a lot more than 250 people. So we're going to see. We're going to see how this ends up playing out. And hopefully I can get details for you guys. I'm sorry it's taken so long, but this is just when you're trying to plan something like this, it just takes some time. I can confirm there will be a meetup for sure that weekend. So for those that have booked their flights and all that stuff, it'll be happening 8/23, 8/24 August. Just exactly where is what I still have to give you guys. But either way, I think we should be good. Now, granted, like 500 people signed up, but 500, like realistically, are 500 people going to show up? I don't think so. It's usually like a 20 to 30% ratio. However, a lot of people that signed up are in Miami, and people in Miami like to have fun, so they might legit show up to have a good time, And so I do need to figure out how to be prepared and make sure everyone can be confirmed. It is not the Hard Rock Stadium. But that would be cool one day if we could do it. 23rd is your birthday. All right, Jay, if you're there, then we'll be able to celebrate your birthday as well that weekend. So it should be fun. They go for the drugs. Well, whatever they go for, Miami is a very, very hot spot. So we're going to see. Why are you using Webull and not Robinhood? Robinhood Legend after hours is really bad. It does not show you the price change after hours. So for earnings, I'm going to be using Webull for the next month. Because I don't know why they haven't done it, but you can't see the difference between the intraday price and the after hours price. And on earnings, that's really important to see if the stock's up or down, 5 or 10%. So they've got to fix some stuff on Legend, dude. I like using it and it's a sleek interface, but they really do have a lot of things to fix before it's super, super streaming friendly. But hopefully the update's coming in September, October. will also help. And I will be again in Vegas in September. So for those that are there, I think I might be in Vegas again in October. I'm going to be in California, I think 2 times in September. So there's going to be a lot of traveling September, October. And then New York will do the meetup again in November. So yeah, we're going to round out the year with a lot of these meetups as well. Yeah, I'll look into Yeti. I'll listen to Dumb Money's pod as well. See what they are excited about when it comes to Yeti. I think that's it. I think that is it. So tomorrow, big day, Tesla, Google. I think the market's going to be flat the whole day. I mean, there might be some volatile moves, but realistically, Tesla and Google will decide what direction the market wants to go. Definitely the S&P. Tesla was up 1% of the day. So until those two report, we're not going to see much. But it'll be a big day. And then Ethereum deep dive at night. So tomorrow's going to have a lot of stuff. Google is after hours. Both are after hours. What do we have in the morning? In the morning tomorrow, we have AT&T, GE Veranova, Moody's, Fiserv, NextEra, Hilton Hotel, at CME, and General Dynamics. So we do have a good amount of companies in the morning. But Tesla, Google will be after hours. And we'll keep going from there. All right. I think that is it. Thank you, everybody, for being here, having an AK Media hosted poker tournament. Dude, I need to learn how to play poker. I really, really want to learn how to play poker. That's something that I think that's a 2026 goal, like getting good at poker. I feel like it's all game theory, and there's a lot of like emotions attached to like just like getting through a quote unquote trade or a hand in poker. And there's definitely some similarities in the stock market. By the way, Chamath, bro, that tweet, this tweet by Chamath, he has been getting absolutely flamed by some of these people for his leveraged trade on a 4% move that has not outperformed the S&P 500. I mean, like some of these pictures, bro, have just been hilarious. Like some of these, like it has been kind of hilarious. The thing is, he was up 70% on the trade in April. Whatever leverage he used with the ISDA on the short S&P or long S&P short Mag 7 trade, he was up 70% in April. The problem was, I don't think the dude took profits in April. I think he thought it was going to go even lower. Otherwise, he would have took profits in April. And we know Chamath, he would have obviously tweeted about the fact that, hey, guys, in January, I said the market was going to crash. Look, April, the market crashed. But he didn't. He probably thought the market was going to crash even more. And then the market whiplashed to the upside. And so if you just bought the S&P, even in January, you would have done okay. So retail really has been winning against the broader market. Here's one more thing I wanted to show you guys. There's one more chart. This I thought was also really important. Unemployment for recent grads. So the unemployment rate for recent male graduates has jumped more than 2 percentage points over the last 12 months to 7%, the highest since the pandemic. Outside the pandemic, this is the highest in 13 years. By comparison, the unemployment rate for young female graduates has fallen during the same period to below 4%, the lowest in 3 years. Young men aged 22 to 27 with recent degrees are now experiencing unemployment at the same rate as those without a college education. Again, this also probably has to do with the fact that there might be more people in that gender that are competing for certain jobs, so that can, take off the proportions. But nonetheless, you are seeing the graduate rate struggle when it comes to young men. And nearly 50,000 of female graduates, 135,000 new jobs last year came from healthcare, twice the total for male grads across all sectors. I think you can attribute this to a lot of things. AI is definitely a contributor. I mean, I was talking to someone who works in data analytics. It was this like last Wednesday, and he basically said when we're looking to hire new people at our company, like it cannot be some junior level engineer that knows how to code, because like an agent can do that. Like all we need is someone to prompt any LLM that LLM that the company uses to be able to do a task via coding, and it gets it done like at 10x the speed. So he's like, now when we look for engineers, Karp has been talking about this as well, that they look for creativity more than anything, not just how good of an engineer you are, how creative are you, because that's going to be the defining variable between being able to be useful with AI. And so I think AI is part of it. There's probably some other things that are going on, but I think anecdotally, some of you guys have probably experienced that there is a bit more of a higher unemployment rate between men, especially right out of college. I mean, I know a couple friends that are out of college and they're just like, job market's brutal, which is, the non-farm payrolls, which, by the way, I think we're getting next Friday, not this Friday. The careers that we thought were going to be safe with certain degrees, the demand for them is not as aggressive as people thought before. It just really isn't. And I think that is changing day by day, given what we're seeing with AI. I mean, and this is part of the reason. I mean, take a look at this stat as well. Startups so far in 2024 or 2025 have raised $104 billion, particularly AI startups, which is matching all of the money that was raised in 2024. So in the first 7 months of this year, we have done 12 months of VC fundraising, particularly for AI startups. Now, that doesn't mean every recent graduate is starting an AI startup, but what it does mean is that so much money is being thrown at essentially automating, because that's essentially what AI is doing, right? They're automating so many different tasks and services. And those startups can potentially go to these companies and say, hey, we can replace XYZ amount of employees you have if you just use our product, which is going to be 1/10 of the cost per month. And that also could be potentially having a strain on the job market. Yeah, prompt engineering, exactly. Yeah, Uzi right here, he works in data science, I believe, so I think he can tell firsthand. You got to be really freaking good to prove your worth. Erwin says, my buddy is a comp sci major and there are no entry-level jobs because of AI. I continue to believe the defining variable of AI in the job market is going to be how valuable you are to a company based on what you can provide, not undoing your job, based on how much you can deliver an ROI to that company in your particular niche. Meaning if you're in marketing, and the Duolingo founder was talking about that the other day, like if you can add users to the company, if you can add brand awareness for the company, if you can run the company's Twitter and get them 10,000 followers, I mean, if a company has 10,000 people that care about what they have to say, that's valuable. And AI so far is not the most sophisticated at doing that creative work. And that's worth a lot to a company. So I think showing that value is ultimately how you can prove yourself in the broader job market. But it's not even just about proving yourself in the job market. It is a societal concern, because you can say, all right, meritocracy all you want. Like at the end of the day, if a lot of these jobs simply just don't exist anymore, the structure of the job is gone, not anytime soon, but let's say in the next decade. I mean, you can't just tell people to fight for their own and do better. Like if those jobs don't exist and like you don't need a degree for those jobs and these entire industries vanish, it's a broader philosophical question that I think the administration in America, but also the administration across the entire world is not prepared for. Not prepared for at all. And the Anthropic CEO has kind of been talking about this more than any other CEO in AI. By the way, speaking of the Anthropic CEO, this was a little bit of controversy that came on today. In a leaked memo, he said the company will pursue Gulf state investments, aka the Saudis and Qatar, etc. David Sachs is right that the Anthropic CEO criticized Trump for getting deals from the Middle East when it came to AI. He said, quote, unfortunately, I think no bad person should ever benefit from our success. Is a very difficult principle to run a business on. So when Trump was getting deals back in May with NVDA, the Anthropic CEO came out and said, hey, we shouldn't be taking money from the Saudis. And now he's realized we got to take some money from the Saudis because they have the money. And even if we don't philosophically agree with them, I mean, we need the money because this race, Anthropic's going to be valued at 100 billion soon, is too much to fall behind on. And Elon again said this today right here. So Elon, he tweeted this: 230,000 GPUs, including 30,000 GB200s Blackwells, are operational for training Grok XAI in a single supercluster called Colossus. At Colossus 2, the first batch of 550,000 GB200s and GB300s, also for training, start going online in a few weeks. As Jensen Huang is stated, XAI is unmatched in speed. It's not even close. And Jensen a while ago did say that XAI is one of the main ones that are winning when it comes to the GPU wars to build out infrastructure.
That's X.AI, right? Oh, and well, there are reports out there that you and Larry and Elon had dinner. They talked you out of 100,000 H100s. They went to Memphis and built a large coherent supercluster in a matter of months. So first,
three points don't make a line. Okay? Yes, I had dinner with them. Causality is.
What do you think about their ability to stand up that supercluster? And there's talk out there that they want another 100,000 H200s, right, to expand the size of that supercluster. You know, first talk to us a little bit about X and their ambitions and what they've achieved, but also, are we already at the age of clusters of 200 and 300,000 GPUs?
By the way, Elon tweeted he wants 50 million H100s or equivalent to H100s set up over the next 5 years. That would be 1.25 trillion at the current market value of an H100 that he would be willing to pay for this compute. So I mean, like that is 1/4 of NVIDIA's market cap. I mean, not all of that would go to NVIDIA, but it is kind of crazy to see how fast this is moving.
The answer is yes. And then the first of all, acknowledgement of achievement where it's deserved. From the moment of concept to a data center that's ready for NVIDIA to have our gear there, to the moment that we powered it on, had it all hooked up, and it did its first training.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
So that first part, just building a massive factory, liquid cooled, energized, permitted, in the short time that was done. I mean, that is like superhuman.
Right.
Yeah. And as far as I know, there's only one person in the world who could do that. You know, I mean, Elon is singular in his understanding of engineering and construction and large systems and marshaling resources. Yeah, just it's unbelievable. And then
so Jensen's bullish, and Elon continues to be bullish on how much momentum they can put that out for. Jose had a great post on the H100 equivalent. Okay, let's take a look at what Jose said. I think Jose is the better expert on how much money this would look like. Okay, so let's see Jose. So Jose says it wouldn't be that much. He says the H100 equivalent is simply a benchmark used now. It's a unit of measurement in terms of performance. Technology gets better, meaning performance increases. Therefore, you need fewer chips, and therefore that improves your power efficiency. They use less H100s for the same performance. That makes sense. NVIDIA is not going to receive some trillions of dollars, and no, we won't need 10 suns to power it. However, what is true is that this demand for AI compute is not slowing down, and power constraints are a bottleneck. Takeaway, there's going to be a lot of demand. It might not be 1.25 trillion, which is a bit ridiculous, but like it's going to be a lot, dude. It is going to be, it's going to be in the hundreds of billions. That's for sure. I mean, the fact that OpenAI is paying Oracle $30 billion a year, that is insane, bro. Not now, but in fiscal year 2028. I mean, it's just a lot, dude. It's just a lot of spend that is happening. White House to unveil new plan to push AI, a broad crackdown on restrictive rules, document shows. Okay, so that is also really important. I don't know if I'll be able to stream the All-In Summit with Trump. I don't know if they're going to be streaming it live tomorrow. I would imagine they do, but that's going to be happening before. Dude, we might be live all day tomorrow, because if that's happening in the middle of the day after the market open, that'll be a big summit. And then you got Tesla and Google. So we'll see, but Trump will be there with Olin and Shyam Sankar, Lisa Su. All these guys are going to be at the summit in DC. And yeah, they're going to be talking about how big AI is. So it's just a lot, dude. It's just a lot. The fact that Elon wants to get this much compute out there into the world and get there within 5 years, the fact that OpenAI is willing to pay $30 billion, the fact that NVIDIA is having supply constraint issues to be able to even deliver the amount that they promised they would give to Elon. I mean, it just shows this is an industry that's not stopping, and the beneficiaries of them are going to be the Palanters of the world that use all those GPUs to create value, the ChatGPTs, the Groks, etc. And that is a decade-long story. A decade-long story that is playing out. Wow, we get to listen to this yapper the whole day. Is it good? Yeah, I got to get some water for tomorrow, bro. I got to get some water for tomorrow. It will be fun. It will be fun. China invades Taiwan. We're going to bear market. Yes, that's true. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. We can kiss this bull market goodbye. But I would hope China doesn't do that. Palantir year-over-year growth, I'm expecting 40%. I think there is a, call it 5% chance we get $1 billion quarter in Q2. 95% chance we probably get 950 to 965-ish, which would be a good beat from the street expectation of like 940. Could they pull off $1 billion in Q2? I mean, that I think the street would get very excited if they pull off $1 billion in Q2. But that's probably not going to happen. But if it does, that would be exciting. But I think we'll get 40%. 40%, $950 million. I think that'll help. All right, folks, that is it. I'll be back tomorrow morning. Thank you, everybody, for being here every single day. We will keep moving. Tesla, Google, that's a big one tomorrow. Grab got a 547 close. Not too bad. Palantir, relatively okay. 148. Robinhood, 101. NVIDIA, 167. Tesla, 331. And then the S&P basically flat on the day, which is not too bad. So I think if we can hold this momentum, Palantir 148.65, then we'll keep going. We'll get into the rest of the earnings. All right, that's it. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you guys tomorrow on the Market Open. Bye, everybody. Have a good one.